it started last night, and then it spilled over to this morning, and then now I know this is actually it's like going from one fight to the next fight to the next fight. So that's why I keep myself in shape, Ron. But this right here, this is exactly why I keep myself in shape, because I know that once something like this happens, I got to be prepared to fight. I can't come in here and be like, I can't do that because I know what it's going to be. I know what it's going to be. And I will say this. It's games like yesterday make it really difficult for me to defend. And the reason why it makes it difficult for me to defend, because when I see 1B going off, my first thought process is, I want to get involved in that. That's my first thought process. I'm not just going to sit back and just watch him go and then go, all right, I'll get involved in it. Like, no, we're in a fight. And because we're in a fight, I'm not just going to just let him just handle everybody else. And yeah, I'll just let you do that. But anyway, Ron.
What's going on, everybody? As you know, Celtics lost last night. Had a pretty bad game, but they lost to the defending champs. We'll get into that, though. We'll break that down. You obviously know Chill is a big Tatum fan and Celtics
Was it a
guy.
bad game?
Swiper is a major
Swiper.
Nuggets fan. You know, he's a Jokic guy. He rocks with the defending champs. So we'll break that down. But you guys do see the title of the show. These injuries will have big-time effects on the playoffs and on just the season in general. I want to go ahead and start with that. Also, it's a new updated MVP ladder. We're going to dive into that. There was a lot of other things that happened last night. We got a big show ahead of us, a lot to talk about. But obviously, it's been some injuries and whatnot. How do you guys feel like these injuries have affected the season as a whole? But before you answer that, I do want to ask, do you guys feel like it's been a healthy season for the majority of the part? Just relatively speaking, compared to
I mean, I think at the top, I think the Wolves, the Nuggets, the Thunder, and then I think the Celtics, the Bucks for the most part. I think if you're at the top of the conference, Cleveland, outside of a stint here and there from obviously from Donovan Mitchell, I think if you're at the top of the conference, you're more than likely having health luck on your side. Like, remember the Sacramento Kings last year? They were very healthy, and that's what helped them propel them to the top of the conference. Same with the Memphis Grizzlies when they were healthy. So I think the Grizzlies probably have suffered the worst, unless y'all can think of another team that's just like lost 7 or 8 players for different points in time over the course of this year. But I think obviously how many games did Ja play this year? Wasn't it like 6 or something like that when he came back?
Maybe 10.
It was less than 10. It was less than 10.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and then he was gone immediately, and he was playing super well. I think like Embiid's injury looms large just because of like how good he was playing for his first 34 games of the year. And then I think outside of that, there's, like I said, this is the Ja Morant's of the league. But for the most part, you look at the top of the standings, like top 15 players in the league, they've mostly all been healthy. Devin Booker has had continual injury issues for the last 3 years, though, so this isn't new at this point. Kevin Durant, Chill's been really healthy this year, and that's been something that we haven't really seen. He can push 70 games probably again this year. LeBron, AD's been healthy. They played more games together than they have since the 2019-20 season. So, and they still suck. I think a lot of this is the Clippers, Kawhi.
Right, that's the biggest one. Like the most glaring person in the room is easily Kawhi Leonard.
Right. And so a lot of the dudes that's been hurt been under 30 too.
And with that being said, the injury bug is the biggest bug of the season. I mean, if you think about the teams that at the end of the season are the last one standing, it's because they've been the healthiest. So Kawhi Leonard being able to hold up like he's been able to hold up this whole season. I already said that I feel like I'm in the Matrix because there's no way that a guy who was broken down the way he did over the last 4 seasons looks like he does this season, like he's in year 6. That's incredible. But they're now starting to get hit by the injury bug. Paul George just came back to the lineup, and when he comes back to the lineup, what happens after that? Russell Westbrook breaks his hand, and now Russ is out for a month. And then now the trend is now starting again with the Clippers. So what's next? Logically, what's next is Leonard is next because he hasn't been injured all season. I mean, Anthony Davis, he's in the top 10 he's in the top 10 in minutes a game this year, which I can't remember the last time that's happened with him, where he's played that much. So when you're talking about guys being injured, but also other guys stepping up, I mean, Donovan Mitchell loses Evan Mobley and Darius Garland. This is a team that was in the top 5 in the league last year. He loses them for 2 months, and they're still at the top of the Eastern Conference. So it depends. I feel like with injuries, I think there are some guys who have an opportunity to step up, but I also feel like a lot of these teams haven't. The majority of the teams haven't suffered devastating injuries.
Was the Darius Garland eye injury this year?
It was a broken jaw. So, so the fact that there were a few, but a lot of these teams haven't suffered that. I mean, Philly losing Joel Embiid. I mean, that's one of the biggest injuries that you can have because I felt like he was going to run away with the league MVP. And now Minnesota losing Cat, and now these other guys have to step up and do their jobs. But for the most part, teams have been relatively healthy. The time when you see guys getting injured is that, and Mars and I have had this conversation, that middle part of the season. When you break down, there's 3 sections in the season: the first 27 games, then the second 27 games, and the last 28 games. That middle 27 games is when you see guys starting to get beat up because it's the dog days of the season, and the monotony of it. Guys started getting injured. For the most part, a lot of teams survive that. It's now when teams are starting to break down, which, again, when you win an NBA championship, being good ain't good enough. Need some things to go your way.
Don't forget about the Knicks too. Julius Randle's been gone for a good amount of time. OG, Jalen Brunson just went down. The Knicks are going through it right now, so that's also a team. But also too, now that I think about it, and we've just talked about, Swiper just listed off a good amount of people. Chill, you just listed out a good amount of people. We forgot to even mention Zach LaVine. Ben Simmons just went down. It actually has been a fairly injury-riddled season. It's an NBA season. It's grueling. Like basketball doesn't get equated as a sport that's bad on your body as much as it should be. Basketball, it's tough to play basketball night in and night out for 30 plus minutes, 20 plus minutes, cutting, pushing, pulling, landing, jumping. That's like injuries are just bound to happen. And non-contact injury.
But Ron, the guys who've gotten injured, isn't that somewhat expected? Like, what do we expect out of Ben Simmons this season from an injury standpoint? What do we expect out of him? Because I feel like Kawhi Leonard is the only dude who exceeded expectations. What do we expect out of Ben Simmons in terms of injuries? Joel Embiid, for the most part, Embiid has actually played in the regular season.
Yeah,
Joel Embiid is broken down in the playoffs, but for the most part, he's played in the regular season. He's played.
This would be the least amount of games he's played. Because he played 51 in 2021. I think he crossed the 67, 69 the next year. Then it was 66 last year.
Are we talking about Joel Embiid?
Yeah, and then this year it's going to be 30-something, or if he comes back, maybe 40.
So I think it was, what are we in? We're in 24 right now. Was it 22 when I think he missed 11 games that year?
Yeah, COVID and the COVID year before, but it was an ankle, it was a knee injury, like a knee sprain or something like that.
The meniscus was in 21. Then in 22, he was in and out of the lineup. I think he missed like 11 games that year and 11, 12 games that year. But he was relatively healthy for the majority of the season. So a guy like Ben Simmons, who we have seen very minimal of him over the last 3 years. He had the mental health issue, he had the back issue, he had the back issue again this season. So I think Kawhi Leonard is a guy who's exceeded expectation because, we're talking about a dude I think him and KD are the guys who've exceeded expectation because what I've seen from KD. Swiper, we're talking about, I think, 34 games on average, 35 games on average over the last 4 years. He missed the season, broke down in 21 because of the hamstring, missed half the season. So we're talking about guys who have KD's going to play, 70 plus games this year? Kawhi Leonard, again, he's going to play 70 plus. Zion's going to play 70 plus games this year. Him and Kawhi Leonard are, I feel like Kawhi Leonard and KD are the guys who exceeded expectations in terms of injuries, considering what they had going on in the past.
So are you saying it's like your usual suspects that have kind of, I don't want to say tricked us, but they've been healthy, and then it's been the guys that we kind of didn't really expect are the ones that went down. Forgot to mention Trae Young's hand injury as well.
Yeah,
also, y'all, by the way, this is a huge compliment. Actually, I actually want to give Kevin Durant a shout out. Do you know this is today? Like, he's played 56 games right now. That's the most amount of games he's played since he was in Golden State. in the regular season. He played 8. Well, he played. Well, I guess if you count the Brooklyn stint together with the Phoenix stint, I played around 47 games, and then he had the 55 games the year before, 35 Achilles injury, and then back to 78 in Golden State. So again, KD is having like a resurgent year in terms of his overall health. So that's why I think I don't think it's usual suspects. I just think that the NBA season is very long, and you just have no idea what kind of physical toll it takes to go through an 82-game season with the travel and everything else. And it's just so random. Like, remember KD slipped last year in warm-up, and then he was out for a little bit. Like, I think it's just a lot of luck that goes into having to be healthy the entire season. But I do think that this is probably – but I think if you looked at the data, I bet you the data would suggest that players are healthier now than they were decades ago. I just think that a lot of this is just the fact that players have to cross so much – like the amount of movement there is in the league, the amount of space there is in the league, and the amount of the fact that you have to like cover these elite athletes on a vertical, horizontal, and the running and the players are so big now. I think some of that just has a toll, which is why some players have a harder time playing in an 82-game sample size. And I think AD, the thing I credit AD for, AD gets slandered a lot, but AD is not a center. And everybody makes fun of him when he gets, beasted by Nurkic or Sabonis or Jokic or Zubac or one of them, but he's a 4. He was always a 4. He's a slender body, but
his best years were at the 4. His best years were at the 4.
Right. So, but that's what I'm saying. So the fact that he's even able to be this dominant as a center shows about his individual basketball greatness. So I just think he's playing out of position.
I think I think I might have it mixed up. It's either KD over the last 4 years has played 47 games, or that's Leonard. And Leonard played 34 games over the last 4 years. It's one of those two that I have it mixed up. But I also think that we don't take into account that, these dudes got a lot of miles on them. I mean, we're in year 13 with Leonard. It's not like Leonard is in year 7 or year 8. KD, we're in year 17 with him, right? So it's not like these guys are spring chickens. Anthony Davis, I think we're in year 12. He showed up in 12. So I think we're in year 12 with him. And sure, these guys – in terms of age, it doesn't really sound that old, but 12 years in the NBA, that's like 19 years in dog years. That's crazy to be playing that long. So, I mean, and we won't bring up the other guy who's basically a cyborg. We won't bring him up, the guy that's been in the league for 35 years. We won't bring him up. He's different. We won't talk about him. But for the most part, the fact that these guys are breaking down now, I do think it's attributed to how long they've been around. Because to your point, Swiper, you're talking about 82 games. This is what I get my body geared up to do in the offseason, right? I can get with that when I'm 25. But when I'm in year 12, year 13, it becomes a grind. And not only does it become a grind, and it starts to wear on me, I can't work out like I did 5 years ago. I can't work out like I did 7, 8 years ago. And on top of that, now I'm mandated to play. It could definitely be a lot.
Yo, Mars, can I get your just thought on the injury just landscape of the NBA as is right now?
Steph just got hurt last night.
Yes, he did.
I don't know how severe it is or whatever the case. But I'm always happy when the league isn't injured. I think no one wants anyone to be hurt. Everyone wants a fully healthy NBA. This is the closest I guess we've been to one this late in the season. I mean, there's a few guys missing: Kat, Embiid, Russ,
Trae Young, Randall,
Julius Randle, Ben Simmons now is missing. I don't know how impactful that is, but like, so generally speaking, I mean, I'm just happy that these guys can stay healthy. Hopefully it continues through the playoffs. I don't want a playoff series to be determined by someone getting hurt. And I'm not one to like predict injuries because I feel like it's disrespectful that I'm kind of like expecting someone to get hurt.
Why, Mars? If you've seen it that much, why is it disrespectful to expect it to happen? It's not like there's a difference between expecting something and wanting something to happen. I've seen this time and time again. I'll give you a prime example. Jayson Tatum. How many times have you seen Jayson Tatum in the postseason? Do you not want him to be successful? But what have you seen over the course of that time? You kind of expect it now. It's not like it's something where you're going, yo, I want this dude to suck. No, but because you've seen it so many different times, it's kind of like, well, it's coming.
Yeah, but if it's like who's gonna be the next person to get injured, and I'm like, oh well, it's Kawhi Leonard. Like, I feel like that's just, I don't know. I don't like speaking on foreshadowing injuries because I just feel like, I don't know. It's just feel if injuries is like something weird for me. I don't like talking about injuries.
I can get with your logic, Mars, because I think it's almost like you feel like you're wishing it on them. When I'm not doing that, I'm not wishing that you get hurt, but because I've seen it so many times, it's not like I'm wishing something bad to happen. Here we go again.
I just hope everyone stays healthy. I just hope
I would like that. I would very much like that.
Not just for like the quality of basketball, just like knowing how difficult it is to get back from injuries, especially like major ones. I just don't like, we talk about these NBA players and like, I understand we don't relate to them or whatever, but like Embiid having a torn meniscus is more than just, oh, how does that affect Philly's playoff chances? That's Embiid's quality of life that is being affected. We don't see these guys when they're just living their everyday life. And like, there's players who can barely walk now because they've played through injuries. Or like, there's players who have like shortened their life expectancy because of things they've done in their sport. So like, from the personal aspect, I don't like talking about injuries because it's like, we take away from the fact that these guys aren't robots. It's not like that when they're injured, they just rest for a while and they come back. Like, no, there's strenuous rehab, is surgeries, is stuff that like most people.
But Mars, isn't that what I signed up for though, Mars? When I became a ball player, isn't that what I mean? What I can empathize with it, but I'm the 6'5" family member who everybody else in the family is like 5'10", and I got this unique talent, and we come from a destitute situation, and I'm going to save my family. And this is what it's going to take in order to save my family. And I'm going to have to put my body through something grueling to make sure that we never go back to that, ever. Now, if that means that when I'm 55 years old, I don't really walk that well. Or when I'm 55 or I'm 60 years old, I might be on pills because my back hurts so much. Well, is it worth it? Because now my family is taken care of, and I don't ever have to worry about them worrying about money again. Is it worth it for me to do that? Well, to be quite honest with you, I can't say no. I can't say that it's not worth it. I can say that if it's going to make sure that my family, and on top of that, when you talk about me 20 years after I retire, when you talk about me 25 years after I retire, yeah, Kevin McHale doesn't walk that well, but I don't know if you can name 10 power forwards in NBA history better than Kevin McHale. There's 3 championship rings and all the money that he's made. I think that for the most part, I think for a lot of these guys, it was worth it. And I kind of agree with them. I get your point, Mars, that you don't like talking about injuries because I don't want to wish an Achilles tear on anybody. Yo, we're talking about a time where I can't walk for 6 months. I can't walk for 6 months. I can't walk. I can't do anything. I tear my ACL. I'm laid up for 2 months. That's a big deal. And I do understand that. But for the other stuff, is it worth it? I can't say that. I can't say with 100% certainty that I would say no. I think it is.
Well, I think
it might be, but go ahead, Swapper.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, I think that as somebody, obviously an ex-athlete as well, I think the thing that I get most frustrated with is when organizations and institutions, because I play Division I football, they don't necessarily force you to do things. They do put pressure on you, and there's societal pressure. There's like I'm talking about from the athletic director to the trainers to the team owner to your coaches to your teammates to your friends and family. And you just want to show up for these people. Really
quick, just so you know, Mars, I'm not making you go, but I strongly advise you to go.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like, they basically tell you what they want without basically saying you have to do this, but they do everything in their power to say you kind of have to do this.
But Jermaine, I strongly advise you to come to this workout. It's
a weird pressure too. It's like basically them saying you're going to play today without saying you're going to play today.
I'm sorry.
It's called cool. It's called manda voluntary. That's what we always call it. It's manda voluntary. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, the Embiid injury and the cat injury, we'll see. But the Embiid injury in particular, I had meniscus surgery myself. I don't think it's I cringe at the idea that somebody would encourage a 7-foot man with 300 pounds to shave off a part of their cartilage between their knee, because I think, as Mars said, ultimately you're gonna have to live the rest of your life, and you can't just like implant a cartilage after you get done. Like, that maybe they will, by the time we get a little bit older, probably just the way technology is working, but you just don't want him and others to give their entire lives to playing a sport, but then, when they're 40 or something like that, or when they're 50, they can't walk. Like, we think about all these players. I mean, Herschel Walker's in great shape, Chill. He looks amazing, but he also is active. But you remember, dude that played for Houston, Campbell, like
Earl Campbell,
can barely walk. Like,
he wanted to kill himself because he was in so much pain. He can't walk. He's in a wheelchair today.
Right.
He can't walk.
I just think that I do think that the money, I think a lot of people look at money and they say that's the overall thing. Like, you're making the money, why complain? But I just truly believe human life has no dollar amount. And so I think that whatever, even if you make a decision to do something, at the end of the day, the people that love you and want you around and want you to be able to like walk with your kids and all that stuff is more important than making $100 million in the league. That's just
are we thinking about that at that time though? When you're 25 years old and you're thinking about how invincible you are at that point and not realizing that, I'm gonna be 40 one day, I'm gonna be 50 one day. Are you thinking? Are they thinking about that at that time? I don't think they are, because I think more
football players are than basketball
players. They are today.
Like,
I feel like they are today because of the information that we have, because of the technology that we have. They recognize it, and I understand that I'm quitting football because I want to leave my house when I'm 42 years old, and in an hour I'd like to know where I live. Right? I don't want to roll over at 3 o'clock in the morning and want to blow my brains out because I'm in ridiculous pain because I was playing 12 years of football and I've been getting knocked around. I can definitely get with that. But at the time when you're doing it, what I'm thinking about is taking care of some people, fulfilling a lifelong dream, and the idea that I can do that for somebody. I might be speaking about me specifically, but what I think about, if I had been able to do that, and I broke my foot, I broke my hand, and I know what broken bones and I know what injuries look like. They suck, Mars, and they have to go through rehab, right? And not being able to, being afraid. I broke my foot my freshman year in college, and the first thing I'm thinking is, even at 19 years old, am I going to be able to run as fast as I used to? Am I going to be able to jump as high as I used to? I'm not thinking about, am I going to be able to walk when I'm 40? I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about, am I going to be able to play again? Because that's what the idea is, because I'm so young and I'm not thinking about the future. But in terms of injury, I never want to wish injury on nobody. No, I don't want to do that because injuries suck.
I do want to say as well, like, just with my prior past, it's also a big pressure with yourself too. Like, let's say it's a big game, for instance. Let's say it was last night, Nuggets playing the Celtics. Let's say it was Jaylen Brown, for instance. He was going through like a foot injury. Chill just mentioned a foot injury. Let's say he had a foot injury. He might feel 50-50, but he's like, I can't duck this game. I need to go out there and prove my worth. I need to prove that we're a championship team. I need to prove I'm worth $300 million and this, and this. Like that things like that happen. But y'all, enough of the injury talk. I think it's other things that we need to talk about. I think
Ron, you better start doing some moderating around here, Ron, because we just sat here and got done listening to a bunch of injury talk when we all know why we're here. I don't know why we sat here and talked about that.
Let's get to it,
so Ron, you better start doing some moderating immediately.
Let's get to it, low down.
That's what you better start doing, Ron.
All right, y'all.
I know what y'all want to talk about.
What up, Swiper? What up, Swiper?
Let's get to it.
By the way, y'all, Low lived 20 minutes away from me. He never seen me in real life, by the way. I just want y'all to know that.
That's crazy.
You be going in and out of the city, though. I don't know what's going on, Swiper. Why are you trying to catch you?
Low, you back to swiping?
Oh man, I'm a busy man. I ain't gonna hold you now. I'm busy.
Not busy enough to come here and hate on Jayson Tatum.
Not busy enough, Ron. Did you notice that, Mars?
Not busy enough for that. Not busy enough for that, bro.
We got time today, though, don't he, Mars?
Still, you might as well grab the boxing gloves. That's all. Swipe in here.
He wouldn't have to fight if he didn't put himself in the ring, man. It's ridiculous.
That's true.
I know what y'all want to talk about, so let's get into it. The Boston Celtics got beat up on by the Denver Nuggets last night. And to take it even a step further, their glorious leader, Jayson Tatum, laid an egg. So with that being said, Low, you up here. I need to hear your take on this. Swiper, I know it's your Boston Celtics. Chill's putting on his boxing gloves. Mars, I'm gonna let you get the last leg of this.
It's Swiper's Boston Celtics.
It's Swiper's Denver Nuggets, not Boston.
It's
Y'all
Swiper's
are
Boston
nasty.
Celtics.
Y'all are nasty. Man, I just this right here is great battle. End of the season, we wrapping up. Basically, got like a month and a half left of the regular season, and normally games like this, they let you know what's really real. The Boston Celtics. This is the first time they lost. This is their first time going into a game where they could have lost back to back. I believe since like November 8th, since the beginning of the season. Jayson Tatum, he's in peak prime form as Chill would, have you let it be told, and he's an MVP candidate. Matter of fact, Chill let you know he's leading the MVP race, going up against the team that just won a championship. While everyone is available for you, this is undeniably a game that apparently, and this is what Chill and them let us say, the old heads let us say, the game that matters. The game that circles around the calendar, the game that really is going to make the difference maker for you one way or another. Jaylen Brown showed up. Drew Holiday showed up.
Keep going, Lo. Don't stop there. Keep going.
I think Porzingis and Derek White, especially defensively, were as good as they can be. Porzingis can't really do much with Jokic. Then on the other side,
no, stay with the Celtics.
I want to paint it. Jamal Murray did not have a good game at all, especially offensively. The shot selection that he was taking was ridiculous.
I think
Michael
that
Porter
stretch.
Michael Porter Jr. finished. Michael Porter Jr. finishes with 9 points. KCP was really good defensively, but didn't go off for his threes either. And yet, and for the most part, the game was close down the stretch. Mm-hmm. And so what it came down to is two things. A, execution, which I think the Denver Nuggets do better than anybody else in the NBA. And I think it's the biggest reason why we all believe that they're going to still inevitably win the championship, because they just execute better than everybody else. But also, they have either the best or second best player in the world in Jokic. While on the other hand, you have Jayson Tatum, who went out there, put up 13 shots, only scored 15 times, and is someone who's supposed to be an improved passer, turned the ball over 5 times in the process as well. And I've been told that this is the man that allegedly now is supposed to be on par with these other players, or at least in top 5 conversations, and should be the leading candidate for the MVP. And yet, for whatever reason, he is not only on a team where he could put up a stinker like this, and his team still be in competent conversations to compete with the Denver Nuggets, but even regardless of how great of a player he may be, the roster is structured in a way to where he can show up this way, and everybody still believes that they could at least compete in the Eastern Conference when the playoff comes around. Tatum is on a historically great team. They are performing at historic heights. A net rating of a plus 10 is something that has only happened, I think, like 8 other times in NBA history. 8 or 10 other times. And almost all of them have won a championship. And if they didn't win a championship, they were in the same season with another team that won a championship, or I think they're the Golden State Warriors in 2016. That's essentially it. When you have a roster that is this good, that beats up on teams by this wide of a margin, you would go on to win, and you'd be confident that they would win. But the only reason why no one is that confident they will win is because of Jayson Tatum and because of nights like last night. And it's the reason why, as great as he is, he should not be allowed to be in the MVP conversations, because you all do him a disservice by putting him in convos that he doesn't belong in. He does not belong in.
Lo, how many times has the league MVP, the best player on the best team in the NBA, not been in the league MVP conversation?
Over a handful of seasons, it has happened.
Such as?
Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell were not in MVP conversations.
Facts, right. Now, in this particular situation, did they have the track record that Jayson Tatum had at this point?
What, a playoff loser? What are you talking about?
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Going deep into the playoffs, doing what they're doing, and being on a historically good team. Like the Utah Jazz, they had the number 1 seed the year that they had the number 1 seed, but they weren't always this good. Like the Boston
Devin
Celtics
Booker was coming off a finals appearance.
Yeah, he went off
yes,
finals.
he was.
64
and I'm glad you brought up Devin Booker, because Devin Booker, before that, what happened to the Phoenix Suns? I don't think they made the playoffs the year before. right?
Well,
So
They were
finals and then missed the playoffs.
right. And the point that I'm making is the fact that Jayson Tatum has built up a resume, the fact that he's built up a resume and a reputation for being one of the better players on a good team, and the fact that he's in the MVP conversation, it is warranted. However, when you play like this in big games like this, right? When you play like this in big games like this, where if he was just average yesterday, I don't think he had to be, he didn't have to be 29, 30, 35. I don't think he had to do that because what Porzingis brought, I think Porzingis did as good a job as he could possibly have done. I felt like they gang rebounded as much as they could. I felt like they defended at the long ball line as well as they could, forced Michael Porter Jr. into tough shots, forced Jamal Murray into tough shots, who is arguably the best tough shot maker in the game. I think that they did as well as they could possibly do. But the issue that I have with what I saw last night, was I saw a guy basically take a back seat to watch a guy get going. When there's no way with Jaylen Brown's history, who I've seen go 22, 23 in the first half and disappear in the second half. I've seen that from him. There's no way that I'm going to watch him do that and not get involved in the game early and often to ensure that we at least going to have a shot to win. Jaylen Brown should not have scored 41 yesterday. And if he's going to do that, I got to at least get involved. And this is the problem that people have with Jayson Tatum is the fact that when he just basically takes a back seat, stands in the corner. I see a lot of 2022 with that kind of stuff where he just takes a back seat and just doesn't get involved. And it's not just by design with the offense because I've seen Jaylen Brown, who missed a couple of shots, just put his head down and go to the basket. I don't see that with Jayson Tatum. And it's games like this where it's hard to defend it, but then he'll turn around and they'll play Phoenix tomorrow night and he'll go for 35 on Kevin Durant. That's what's going to happen. Something like that. He'll go for 29, 11, and 6 against Kevin Durant. So the inconsistency is the biggest issue.
I don't think it's an issue. I think we all accept it. I think you're the only person who hasn't accepted it. I don't think it's an issue. Like that's like sitting here like the same thing with like AD. Like I don't even think like who AD is. We just accept that who these players are. It's not really an issue. We're waiting on you to accept it.
So
that's just who he is.
This is just who he is.
Yes.
So if we're doing that, then I mean, I guess we have to do that with a whole bunch of other players who couldn't really shoot the basketball. What I mean when I say that, Swiper, is guys who couldn't shoot the basketball, guys who couldn't handle the basketball, guys who didn't perform in the clutch, and then later on they started doing that. We can't just accept that this is just what it is.
Such as who?
How about James, for example? How about James, who couldn't really shoot?
Why are we comparing him to LeBron?
Yeah. So I think some of this is, I think the issue is because Mr. Lowe's big on narratives. Obviously that's my dog. I know it's it's my dude. But some of this is, I think Jayson Tatum is an incredible player. He's a top 10 player in the league. The problem is, and again, Chill, this is not addressed to you, just you, but it's addressed to people as a whole. He's not in best in the world talks, and there are players like Jimmy Butler that are just as good or outshine him when it matters most because of what they're able to bring. And I think a lot of stuff that at the top, man, it's like there are intangible things that make you that way. Jayson Tatum is a shooter. Jayson Tatum is a defender. Jayson Tatum's not a high-level playmaker. He's not even a high-level scorer on super efficiency. He doesn't get to the rim when he does, he's really good getting to the rim, but he doesn't get to the rim as much as he should. And then defensively, he's not like an elite shot blocker or anything like that. He's one of the best wing defenders in the league, no problem. One of the best off-ball defenders in the league at the wing, no problem. But there's nothing that he does, though, that stands out as like one of a kind. Steph Curry has something that stands out as one of a kind. LeBron James has something that stands out as one of a kind. Giannis has something that stands out as one of a kind. Jokic stands out as one of a kind. There are players that are of that archetype, James Harden even at his apex, that are just able to get to a spot on the court, get to a move, get to a bag, and that separates them from everybody else. And I think what you saw yesterday, Tatum got so much ball pressure yesterday. The Nuggets started with KCP on him because their whole thing was we're going to put quickness on him. That way he can't just get by with a drive. And they put so much ball pressure on him that every single time he thought about driving or looking towards the basket, he saw multiple people, and Tatum just didn't feel comfortable.
But Swiper, that's not an excuse for Swiper.
He made his first 3 shots, and when you make your first 3 shots,
not an excuse.
And as a one-on-one player, as a one-on-one player, I make my first 3 shots, whether they're jump shots. What you're going to do is now you're going to crowd me. Now, what that does is that
But
that gives me an opportunity. That gives me now the opportunity to make different shots because now that you're crowding me, I'm not just going to stand behind the long ball line.
I still think you're getting lost in the sauce about what Tatum is, and this is no disrespect. He's an All NBA player, but you expecting Tatum to do something Bron would do, or Tatum to do something Jokic would do, or even. And again, Lowe said first or second. I don't think Giannis is in the conversation. I know that's who he's referencing. I don't think there's a conversation anymore at this point, and I think that Giannis, even in the half court setting, is also limited. And I think the issue is with Tatum is that he gets to put in conversation, just like Anthony Davis did for years, and Lowe remembers this. People were putting Anthony Davis in best in the world talk or top 2 in the world talk.
Should not have been.
It never should have been. And the thing is, AD's peaks are crazy. Tatum's peak are crazy. But I think a lot of this is that it's not an excuse, Ron, why he didn't do it, but there's reasons why he doesn't. And I think people don't understand that Tatum is a heavy ISO player, especially in the fourth quarter. And if he can't shoot over you, and he can't dominate you with his physicality, then what is he going to do? Like the thing is, and I think the thing is, you got to understand about the Nuggets too. The Nuggets are bigger than the Celtics. Tatum ain't the biggest wing on the court, but there's 2 wings on the court that are automatically bigger than him. And then on top of that, they got a guard at 6'5". That's not little. And yesterday he tried to put Jamal Murray in the post on back-to-back possession. And Jamal Murray, they stripped him on the first one, and then Jamal Murray got an offensive foul on the other one. But I'm saying, but like
he poked it away. I was like, man.
But the thing is, Tatum, when he steps on the court with that team, he's not the smartest player on the court. He's not the more athletic, gifted player on the court, and he's not the most dominant player in the court. And if you give somebody that kind of scenario, now again in the Eastern Conference Finals, Eastern Conference playoffs, that's cool. You might get that, but I'm not going to hold you. The West is just a different deal altogether. I think people just misunderstand how physical the Western Conference is. That's what I think people are missing. Like that's why they're doing 5-4. I think 5, the Wolves, the Thunder, and the Nuggets at the point, and even losing to the Lakers without AD and without LeBron. Like there's just a level of physicality that you play with in the Western Conference, like Sabonis and even the rest of them. And so,
is the Eastern Conference that much inferior physically than the Western Conference?
I think it's not significantly. I think there's a gap in skill. There's for sure a gap in skill, and I think
the skill and the physicality are 2 different things.
I think there's a gap in physicality as well. I think it's just Giannis.
I'm getting to that too.
It's just Giannis.
Respect the Knicks' physicality.
I mean, sure, but they lack the skill. But that's what I'm saying. Like I think the West is the best combination of skill and physicality. So I think some of this is that I just don't. Chill. I don't know what you were thinking, that you could honestly look at him and get on a court with like Jokic, and that he was even going to look like he was on par. Like that's the thing I think that I think takes away the conversation. It wasn't even that he was like good. That's cool, but it looked like he got dominated physically.
Wait a minute, Swiper. I've never put him in. There's a difference between being in the MVP conversation. There's a difference between being in MVP conversations and being the best in the world. The MVP does not mean you're the best player on the planet. We've seen that before. Plus, I've never said that Jayson Tatum was Joker good. I'd never said that, and I don't think that.
Just that he was Luka good, yeah.
I mean, when he was on the floor with Luka, Luka looks better than him.
Who won the game? Who won the game?
And that's the problem, is that if it boils down to who wins games, this is the reason why, like every single time we had these conversations, and why he's just not in the conversation. His team looks really, really good, even when he's off the floor. So you cannot just boil it down to who wins games or not. The Boston Celtics, when he's off the floor, has I'm Mars being facetious, but they have a net rating of 8 when he's off the floor. That would still be leading the NBA. They would by the minutes in which when he's off the floor, they win those minutes by such a wide margin that they're still comparable with what some of the other better teams in the league. Like that player should not be in conversations to be MVP, and he's certainly not better or in the conversations with Luka. He's not as good as Embiid. I genuinely do not believe that he is a top 5, 6 player in the NBA. And similar to what Swiper said, there's things that players do that they do at a very, very high level, and he does at a high level, but there's not one thing that he does that can reach levels of transcendent era. Like he's just not. Even Anthony Davis can play defense at a transcendent level.
Unless his shot making gets crazy like Game 7 last year versus the 76ers. That's what it comes down to in him. He has to make jump shots. And yesterday, he wasn't making jump shots. And then when he tried to get to a jump shot, his space was crowded. And then he didn't have the ability just to drive by and get to the rim consistently. And chill. Did you see him when he was by the rim yesterday?
Oh, you
Like,
talking
he was
about
just
layup?
missing layups.
Yes,
layups.
layups.
And then a couple of nights ago, I saw him run down the gut and miss a dunk. So it's hard to defend this. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm not gonna sit up here and say yo and sound like a goofy and be like, well, he's still this, he's still. It's hard to defend because what I'm seeing last night. What I'm seeing last night. That's a circle game. That's a statement game. It's possible finals preview. I don't think he's Joker good, but I want to make sure that when I step on the floor, you see something different. And if I'm watching that game last night and I don't know anything about basketball, and you tell me number 0 is one of the 5 or 10 best players in the NBA, I'm thinking, no, he isn't. That guy isn't that good. If I've never watched basketball before, I'm not thinking that because of what I've seen, from what I've seen specifically from last night. But what I'm not going to also do is I'm not going to discount how good he's been, though. I mean, he actually has been really good. I'm not going to discount that. I just don't think he. I'm not. I don't think he's Joker good. Stop, Ron.
Yeah, he's been a top 10 player. He's been like a best 7,
fringe low,
a best 7, 8, not fringe. A best 7 to 8 or around 8, 9.
He's sitting right next to Anthony Davis, very comfortably right next to him, and that should be complete. That's fine, but I think that's the thing, Chill. We ain't got to put him. We don't have to boost him. Like we don't just because SGA is young in the league. We don't have to be like, oh, well, why is SGA getting this love in the MVP conversation? He's just been better this year. He's a more impactful player, but that doesn't diminish Tatum. The only people that feel like that diminishes Tatum are Tatum fans, Boston fans, and people from the Boston media. That's it.
And Chill. That's it. It doesn't diminish him. Yeah, y'all fight this idea of who these players are, and then you get disappointed. But it's like this is nothing really to fight. Tatum has provided the evidence of who he is for the better part of the last 2 to 3 years now.
And you guys are right. You guys are right until you're not, because what happens when?
But who's taking that leap though? Honestly, let me ask you, Chill. Who has taken that leap from being an first team All NBA player to moving into like best in the world MVP talks? How many players have actually taken that leap just in recent years?
In recent years, being All NBA to being the best player on the planet.
Like, and then and point to this thing that they got great at, like something that they did that made them great.
It's just 2.
James.
He's not real. I thought you meant recent, like in the last 5 years.
So you mean recently?
It's just 2.
I think SGA. I think we starting to have the conversation about him.
Okay, or then 3.
Great pull-up shot, great pull-up shot maker, great mid-range shooter, great defender.
Conversation about him. Joker,
Tatum better in the mid-range, but
Joker.
And Giannis. It's just 3. It's this conversation we're trying to have with SGA right now. Jokic and Giannis. That's it. Like the concept that and I agree. Even with Swipe made is making a really good point. God, I hate agreeing with Swiper. Fuck. Listen,
he got cooked in the playoff last year, and ever since he's been acting funny. That's why I ain't seen him. Go ahead.
No, please stop, please. Also, y'all cannot allow Swiper to get nasty narratives off on this platform because he already got away with 3 or 2 jabs already. In this
like what, Lo?
He just sat there and said,
"What do we got to watch out for?"
You know, rocking with SGA being a better defender than
Giannis? No. It's wait, who? What did he say?
You don't know SGA is a better defender than Giannis?
This season before the doc trade, he's been great. You can do whatever you want, bro. You a numbers guy. Go ahead, numbers merchant. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Who? Which
anyway,
one's the numbers?
No.
That dude, low cast right there.
Oh my god. No. Swipe is also a number merchant. The thing is, Swipe is a magician. He'll do crazy things with numbers, and just all of a sudden now Jokic is the top 10 defender.
Hey,
listen. Yes, the leap that Swipe is talking about is like the leap of all leaps. It's the leap that makes us all hesitant about who the Minnesota Timberwolves can be because we are waiting on that leap from Anthony Edwards. It's the leap that I think that we all know at one point in our lives about Paul George, about, hey, can he take that next step? It's the leap that separates a really great team with a really great player from winning championships or making consistently deep postseason runs, because normally those really great players have a hard time making the adjustments and changes to their game that is necessary. So that superstar leap that he is talking about is a very, very important one. And I believe that you have a window of time to do it before we have to just start accepting that that's more than likely who you are. Let me be clear, I'm not going to completely erase who Tatum is. But Tatum today is effectively the same player he was last year. There's certain aspects to his game and decisions that he makes on the floor that stops him and prevents him from being in those talks and those conversations. So until that happens, it's the reason why, and I mean very, very serious. If Tatum had done the things that we all believe that he needs to do to take that leap, none of us will be questioning who should win a championship this year. None. The Boston Celtics in practically every metric are on pace to be an all-time great team.
They're the only team that I remember, Lo. To be honest with you, they're the only team that I can remember that's been this good that I have questions about winning the NBA championship.
Well, they don't. But
I think Clyde Drexler fits in the same category.
I never felt Ron, Lo, because I never felt like the Portland Trailblazers. I never felt like they were going to win the NBA championship.
Which year?
Never felt like that.
You didn't think
in 89, I didn't think that they could beat Detroit. I didn't. No, I didn't. In 90, I'm talking about. I didn't think that they could beat Detroit. No.
Well, but again, I think that's a similar case, though. Is that I think people have this idea. You will, and I want to be very clear about this. I've been in Lowe's been around me. You will not, except for twice this whole era, the century, 04 and 14. You will not win a championship without having a superstar, generational player at the helm. It doesn't happen. It just does not happen.
I know that.
So that leads me to my next question, though, that I want to transition to. We've obviously talked about JT, but now we got to talk about the Celtics as a whole. They lost the other night in a pretty bad fashion, and then they just lost last night to the defending champions. So are we questioning the Celtics?
No.
Are they still?
No.
So we're not.
You can still believe in the Bucks and believe they're going to beat the Celtics in the series. I think they are coming out the East. Nothing.
The Celtics.
Yes, nothing has changed. Boston are far and away the best team in the East.
Okay.
That team has flaws too. That superstar also has flaws. So yeah, I mean, this is toss-up.
I believe in the Bucks less now than I did when they had Adrian Griffin,
and that's primarily because of Doc Rivers. That's it.
No,
there's no other reason.
No,
anything except Doc Rivers.
Because maybe my hate goggles are on when I watch the Bucks. I'm not even blaming Doc Rivers for why I believe in them less. I just think I've started watching them more.
It's Dame.
So I'm watching them. Some of it's Dame, some of it's
not some of it. Stop lying. Stop lying.
No, some of it's Dame, some of it's roster construction. To be honest, none of it's Giannis. I don't.
Giannis is having arguably the best. Oh, no, don't speak too loud. Don't say too loud. Don't say too loud. Swiper going to get upset. Don't say too loud. Don't say that.
I think it's the second best season he's ever had in his career.
Don't say it.
Giannis is the only reason I think they have a chance.
Which season do you think is better than this one, Swiper?
Still that 1920 season. I think still like was amazing personally, but I mean it's just either one of them.
But you think
low.
All of y'all are gonna learn pretty soon.
Swiper doesn't like Giannis. We figured.
No, he doesn't. No. Don't let him get this off. He doesn't like Giannis.
You see what happened when Lowe get here? He started putting this nasty. I have no issue. He's my second favorite player in the league. Stop. Be quiet. Relax.
Oh my God.
Relax.
And I love Kevin Durant.
Just because there's
KD's my second favorite player too, chat. KD, I love KD.
I can't speak to that, bro. I don't know. You a natural born hater.
Wait a minute though, Swiper. You said that the 1920 season. Is that the year? In that year, he won the defensive player? No.
Yes.
That was.
And that's the year.
I thought it was 18-19.
No, that was just his first MVP that he didn't deserve.
Okay, so the 1920 season was when he won the defensive player of the year. So right, so that was the year
he was the clear MVP, and then he was the clear DPOY that year.
So in terms of his game, and which translated to the season, which this year I'd like to think Giannis is a much better player today than he was in the 1920 season. One of the best transition, if not offensively specifically, if he's not the best transition player in the game, he's a top 2 transition player.
He is the best transition player.
Yeah, if he's not if he's not the best transition player, he's a top 2 transition player. He's still in his head at the stripe. We all know that, but a lot of his skill set has changed, and a lot of his skill set has changed for the better. Plus, defensively, without him, I think they're garbage. I think that Milwaukee team is straight garbage without him. So with that being said,
he's worse defensively.
What do you think he's worse defensively this year?
I just think his motor's low. I don't think he's worse personally.
But and also, fair, I think he's also being asked to cover a lot more now than he was.
Right. That doesn't make.
I'd argue. I think he's better. I think his ability to stay in front of
and When you got a guy who's seen it, like when he's had Brook Lopez, who was playing at a defensive player of the year level, right? When he had Middleton, who was playing solid defense, when he had Drew Holiday, now he's got these other guys and he has to do more. Well, of course, that might sink my spirits in being a defender because now I got to cover more for Damian Lillard. Brook Lopez is getting older, so I got to cover more for him. I got to cover more for Malik Beasley. So, of course, that's going to affect my game. That doesn't mean that I'm a worse defender. It just means that I got to cover. I have more responsibility, and my production is going to go down.
I think last year he was the worst defender than he was in 2020. I'm gonna say last year he's the worst even when he had Drew Holiday. I just think he's regressed as a defender, but I don't think he's
being
bad.
You
think he's regressed, or you think his motor is lower?
No, I think being disengaged makes you worse.
Two things.
I'm not arguing about like his defensive impact is worse because
no, I don't think he actually is a worse defender. Like I think
I don't think so neither. I don't. I think he's just got to cover more ground, and that's affected his game.
What was the question Ron asked?
It was about the Celtics.
Does this affect?
Any team be
no worried about them.
I'm not.
That
hold on, no.
loss means nothing.
We said Eastern Conference Finals. Everybody said they're not worried about it. They're going to the championship. On the West, who do the Celtics need to be worried about?
The team that they lost to yesterday.
Whoever comes out the West, they should be worried about.
Not as much as
comes out the West. That means they beat Denver, so you should be worried.
Not nearly as much as the team that they had to. Not nearly as much as the team that they dealt with yesterday.
Agreed.
Whoever comes out,
but whoever comes out the West,
that means they beat Denver, which means you should be worried.
And so it doesn't matter if it's OKC or the Clippers, they should be worried.
I wouldn't be worried as much about the Clippers as I would about Denver, but that could be a better matchup for them running up on the Lakers. That could be a better matchup running up on.
Of course,
the Lakers. If the Clippers or OKC get to the finals,
that's what I'm talking about. I feel like OKC could be a better matchup for the Celtics, right?
Of course,
it would be.
As opposed
all of those teams would be a better matchup, yeah.
As opposed to the Denver Nuggets, who Mars, you and I already had this conversation. Unless the Boston Celtics have a sizable lead going into the fourth quarter, when we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, where it's
I don't even know if that matters.
I do think that matters, Lo. I do, because I feel like if they can sustain it, if we go into the fourth quarter and we got an 8-10 point lead, if we can sustain
that's not enough.
I just
do you know what they did yesterday?
Boston's record against the playoff teams in the West is 8-7.
Jesus.
They're not very good against these Western Conference teams. Jeez. Now, I understand regular season there's back-to-backs involved that I haven't checked. But just scrolling through, the only playoff team they seem to be doing good against is the Mavericks. Everyone else, they either split or they haven't played both games of the series yet.
Right.
They split. They've lost both to Denver. They split with the Warriors. They split with the Clippers. They split with the Lakers.
Now,
they split with the Timberwolves.
Right.
They lost to the Thunder. They still have to play the Thunder again, but they lost to the Thunder.
Right.
They haven't played the Suns once yet, and they beat the Kings, and they're yet to play their second game.
So
that's
now,
it.
Mars,
That's what they've done.
Which makes sense. But Mars, put some context on that. So they lose to the Celtics. So they lose to the Warriors. Then they come home and they beat them by 50. Right.
Yes.
They lose to the Clippers at home, but previous to that, they beat them by 40 on their home floor.
Without Kawhi,
even without Kawhi Leonard, but Paul George, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, but I mean, like
what I'm making is that.
Quick, but respectfully, you can lose a game, but you can lose 3 games by 1, and win your 1 game by 50. You're down 3-1 in a series. How much you win by doesn't in the landscape of a series. You could win your 3 games by 50. Every single one. If you lose 4 games by 1 point, you lost the series.
I don't think you lose.
Like, it doesn't matter how much you beat them by. If you're losing in a series, it doesn't matter if you win by 10 or win by 1. You still win a game.
But if you,
and they're losing to the West. Go ahead.
I feel like if you dominate a team, I think that's a psychological edge that you may have on.
Well, hold on, but this is so. Just to be clear about,
I do feel like that.
So I said this yesterday on several shows before the game that if a small win, like a tight win, a clutch win, is more indicative of future success than a blowout. Because if one of these teams would have blew each other out, it wouldn't have meant anything. Because that could just be an off night in the regular season. Because neither team is 30 points better than the other. But how do you actually execute down the stretch of a fourth quarter? Your decision making, your personnel changing, and also too, they're gonna have the coaching disadvantage versus everybody in the West at the top, versus the Thunder, versus the Nuggets, and versus the Wolves potentially, and Chris Finch. And then some of this is too. Chill. Let me tell you what they did in the fourth quarter. They got so
coaching
desperate.
Advantage.
You said what?
You said coaching advantage?
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
Which I was going. We were going to get to that.
Every team in the West.
We were going to get to that, but
Yeah.
keep going, Swipe. I was going to ask you about that, but keep going.
And I want to say this too. Yesterday, you know how desperate they were in the non-Jokic minutes. They lost by -2 in the first half. They were so desperate to start the fourth quarter. They started Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, Kristaps, and Drew with no Jokic on the court.
Yes.
Because they tried to load up because they were that desperate to win those minutes because they knew they didn't have a chance unless they did that. That's a playoff adjustment they made, and they lost. And it was just Jamal, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, Zeke Naji, and
Peyton Watson.
Fourth one.
He already said that.
Yeah.
But I know exactly what he's
Justin
talking
Holiday.
about.
Yeah,
Justin, it was Holly, yeah. And they still lost those minutes. And that was ridiculous. And
trying to let them win, but I mean,
I'm saying Jamal Murray wasn't playing great.
Yeah, down the stretch of the fourth, but no, Jamal was good in the top of the stints in the second and the fourth quarter, but down the stretch of the game, he just started doing whatever.
Go ahead, Lo, I'm sorry.
I just quick because also I'm about to leave too. They were also making like other playoff. They were even throwing they were trying different bodies at Jokic as well. They were trying to they were genuinely. Yeah, they were playing double big lineups. They had Drew Holiday defending him at one point, swapping with Porzingis, letting him go 1-on-1, sitting out. They were trying to genuinely. They showed, I would argue, all of their cards, and they lost.
They
and
put Drew Holiday on Jokic on the last 5 minutes of the game to pressure Kristaps Porzingis.
What the hell was that about?
But they were just trying. But they were just trying things.
The roaming tactic is like the go-to for
yes. And this is the point. And Swiper doesn't think that I big up Jokic, but y'all know I do. This is the point that I was
heard
making
you all last year, clown. I know who you are, bro.
See, exactly. Yeah. See, this is the thing I was making. I was making a point last year on this platform where I was sitting here telling y'all, bro, there's things that I've seen from Jamal Murray and Jokic on a stretch of games where they execute certain things that they haven't even pulled out of their bag of tricks yet. In their,
you think there's more, Lo? You think there's more?
I know there's more. I've seen it in spurts.
You think
so you got to back to back then.
I do. I'm gonna say when you start seeing inverted pick and rolls or Aaron Gordon and Jokic pick and rolls, like the fact that they don't even have to pull that out of their bag and they can just beat y'all with essentially they beat the league essentially with the same execution where Jokic is in the post, he reads how the defense comes and he's just throwing lobs to Aaron Gordon baseline or he's dumping it off or making reads. They don't even really use the inverted pick and rolls as much as we all, if you really watch them, know that they can. Well, so they don't even do those things.
Well, first of all, though, they're not tricking anybody with the 4 or 5 pick and roll. They was doing that when Joker had Plumlee. So that's not news. They've been doing that. That's number one.
It's a bit better now.
Yeah, it's a little bit better now. I won't argue that. But to Swiper's point, Swiper, do you think that Mazzulla got out coached last night?
Yeah, 1,000%. But it's not Mazzulla's fault though.
I'm about to say
he's coached for a year and a half. Like he doesn't know what he doesn't know, and Brad Stevens is helping him. I saw Brad and Calvin Booth were talking before the game yesterday. Like obviously, Brad is a genius, and they've assembled a great roster. But it's not Joe's fault. And I think people are going at Joe like, well, how do you not know? Joe's not even 40 yet. And this is his first coaching stint. He is a player's coach. He's an X's and O's dude.
All right, low down. Good to talk to you, brother.
I'll let you later.
Don't let Swiper get out nasty stuff running. Don't.
Hey, no, you said KD was. You said never mind. Now I'll follow you later because whatever.
AD is better than KD.
No, he's not. Stop. Get out of my face. Go ahead. Bye. See you
later.
They're
both better, Jayson Tatum.
They're both better. But no, anyway, I think Joe gets better over time. But I just think that he just doesn't know what he doesn't know. And Malone, you got to understand, Malone has seen everything versus this team. They've seen everything from every team. So anything Mazzulla does, he's already peaked before. And like I said, for me, it's like they put 4 starters in at the top of the fourth quarter, the stagger versus Nugget bench unit. Oh, yeah, they cook. Because guess who does the same thing? LeBron and AD. That's what the Lakers do. That's the same thing Darvin Ham does. Everybody just tries to load up on a non-Jokic minute, which is smart. But I think that just goes to show, I think even the best team, the best starting 5 in the league, they're still losing those minutes in the Jokic minutes, and I think that's just a terrifying thing for them. So I don't think they will be prepared for that in a playoff setting.
One thing I do want to acknowledge about the Celtics, though, I do want to shout out Kristaps Porzingis. He had a fairly good game last night. Didn't really shoot too good, but still had 24 and 12. He stepped up. Also, Jaylen Brown had an amazing game last night. He had 41 and 14. We're not.
They would have won if he made some free throws.
Please, Mars.
Just to we've harped on Jayson Tatum. If Jaylen Brown made his free throws, they win that game. Well, the game would probably go different, but just like technically, they would have won that game if he just made some free throws. So,
Mars, let me ask you: do you think there's anything to the fact that so the Celtics shot 26% from three yesterday, 29?
Something bad, yeah. And then the Nuggets still shot worse.
19%.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything, or actually, let me ask you, what do you think? Because the Nuggets in Game 5 last year in the final, they made 5 threes. The Nuggets have won multiple.
The Nuggets are a team that can win without shooting the three. Well, I don't think.
Yeah, what do you think it is then that like in that matchup in particular, even if Boston doesn't shoot well or the Nuggets don't shoot well, what do you think happens like over the course of the game that even leads to like a victory like that?
I think because Boston, I know a lot of people harp on the fact that they've been like the most efficient post-up team in the league, but Boston's whole attack still predicates on the initial option is to get an open three. So if they're not hitting threes, everything else from their attack, it descends. It's like the Nuggets' first option isn't a three, so their offense still hums basically without their three ball hitting. Whereas Boston, it's like they're so predicated on that one part of their attack that now if they're not hitting threes, their post-up attack not only starts later in the clock, but it's less in rhythm. And also the Nuggets just have more size. So Porzingis isn't just feasting on 6'2" guys anymore, because now you've got KCP who's strong and has great hands. Jamal Murray has great hands. You've got Aaron Gordon, who, I mean, you don't even want to post him up if you're KP. And then Jayson Tatum, we've seen him in the post. He's great when he's got mismatches in the post. But then you start going against guys who have that physicality to bump with him, and then who are also disciplined defensively. That attack dies down, and then you revert to isolation ball, where the Nuggets have some of the best wing defenders in the league. Their offense is just a lot more simplistic in terms of the amount of counters they have if their main plan of attack isn't working. But Denver, they don't have a main plan of attack. It's whatever Jokic decides to create on that play, which is the main plan of attack. So some plays it will be dribble handoff for an elbow jump shot. Sometimes it will be pull up threes from Jamal Murray. Sometimes it will be Jokic pick and pop. Then he'll up fake and he'll drive right by you, or he'll shoot the three. There's so many different ways they can beat you on any given possession that they don't rely on the three ball for them to be successful. There's a reason. I don't know how many threes they took, but it was like 20 threes. They didn't even take that many because they don't need the three to still have a good offense. Their offensive rating, I just looked up, was 117 last night, and they made 4 threes. They might be the only team in the NBA that I think can do that. Like that's in this NBA, that's borderline impossible.
I'm going on record. I'm saying it again. If the Denver Nuggets win the NBA championship this year, they winning it again next year too.
We might be looking at the start of a dynasty.
I'm going on record and I'm saying it. And I think the Celtics are going to win the championship this year. I do. But if the Denver Nuggets win the NBA championship this season, they winning it again next year too.
I just want to know how you guys think Jayson Tatum's definitively top 10.
Well, I think it's the same thing with it. It's similar with AD though. I think Anthony Davis is the clear top 10 player because he obviously is one of the best defenders in the league, but not versus certain matchups. He's not been good. The Lakers haven't had a good defense this year, and Anthony Davis is a part of that, but obviously not the sole responsibility. I think offensively he's very limited. He's not a floor spacer, not a shooter. Mid-range isn't there. Three-pointer isn't there. He's a decent passer, playmaker. I mean, he's probably on the same par with like Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid or something like that. I think Tatum is a good passer. He's a good playmaker. He's a good scorer. He's a great defender for a wing. He's one of the best off-ball and on-ball defenders. So I think it's just a combination of skill set and talent.
So I think why is Jayson Tatum better than AD?
Better?
Who do you think?
Why are we talking about AD like AD? Why are we talking about AD like AD's the gatekeeper at number 10? No, he isn't.
That's why I'm just asking.
No, I'm bringing. I think they're in the same tier. I think they're in the same tier.
Who do you think is? I think top 10. We have to have 1 through 10. So
well, I think AD's better. Like, but I don't think it's not a gap. I think it's like slightly better.
That's fine. But my issue is definitively he's in the top 10. If you think he's top 10, I don't have a problem. But let's just Giannis, right? Embiid, Shai, Jokic, Kawhi, KD, Luka, Steph.
You already said Luka.
Oh, okay. Take one off. Steph.
This year.
LeBron. AD.
Who's he? Why is LeBron definitively?
I think that's not.
Why is LeBron definitively top 10 this season?
Giannis,
definitively.
Embiid, Shai, Jokic, Kawhi, KD, Luka, Steph, LeBron, AD. Why is he definitively better than one of those people?
Anybody. Just please.
Like, I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he doesn't have an argument. My argument is just saying he's definitively a top 10 player. Of one of those guys, he has to definitively be better than.
Well, when you say the same thing, is Anthony Davis definitely better than Jayson Tatum?
I think he has an
argument to be top 10.
Okay,
the idea that he's just definitively in there. I need someone like Jokic is definitively top 10. We can tell you people right. Definitely better.
Giannis is definitively.
Who is Tatum? Definitely better. No argument. He's better than one of those guys, and that's why he's top 10.
Well, wait a minute, Moss. Don't we get to after like 6? I feel like after like 6, we can have a conversation about people. Like, I don't think KD is definitely better than Anthony Davis. I don't think he's definitely better than him. I don't think he's definitely better than Jayson Tatum. He's a bucket getter, and I'll give you the buckets that he gets. And his rim protection off the ball has been great. I can say the same thing about Jayson Tatum on the wing. His off ball presence. I can say the same thing about him rebounding. I know you're not a big fan of rebound, but I can say the same thing about him rebounding.
I like rebounds and wins.
And I can say the same thing about Jayson Tatum's ability to score. Now, he might not be the scorer that KD is on that level, but I feel like when we're talking about the best scorers in the game, I feel like he's comparable. So with that being said, if after I think Joker, I think Giannis are definitively top 10 guys. And we're talking about this season, like Steph Curry, is he definitively a top 10 player?
I don't get how you would think. I don't get how you would think Jayson Tatum is better than Steph Curry.
I definitely think you can make.
I don't get how you think that.
I didn't say he was. But what I'm saying, I didn't say he was, because I don't have Steph Curry. I don't have Jayson Tatum over Steph Curry. No, I don't. But when we're talking about the other guys, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, LeBron James, I don't think LeBron James is definitely better than Jayson Tatum. No, I do not think that.
My thing is, if Jayson Tatum isn't definitely better than any of them, that means someone having Jayson Tatum at 11 shouldn't be looked at crazy.
Well, I think a lot of
that's what I'm saying.
A lot of this is the product of the fact that for Kawhi, for instance, he wasn't playing enough. And so I think Jayson Tatum, because of his availability, he played between 76 and 82 games a year. You're going to get consistent nights where he's going to put up great numbers and he can be one of the best defenders. Right. And he's still one of the best offensive players in the league. But I just think that like SGA is just getting into that convo. So I think SGA is the one that makes it difficult, because SGA has now solidified himself for me going forward as a top 10 player, just because he's going to be in the MVP conversation every year for the next.
He wins it, it's going to be
several seasons.
Right.
And then LeBron, I think he just can't reach the apex that he needs to reach on a nightly basis because he's 39 years old, and because
that's where the consistency happens.
But I think LeBron's still been great.
He can't reach the apex every night either.
Who?
And his apex isn't as high as
well, Ron, who reaches the apex every night? Who does that? Joker has bad nights.
LeBron has had a better season than Jayson Tatum. Y'all can say what y'all want to. LeBron James has played better than Jayson Tatum this year.
Ron, no, he has. He's been better in transition. What else, Ron?
He shot the 3 better than Jayson Tatum this year. And he's better at the rim. And he's a better passer.
He makes.
And he's a better player.
He's a better passer. So you're saying that he's a better player overall than Jayson Tatum?
Yes.
This season?
Yes.
Every season.
Okay, so we're going off what he did in the past. We're not
last season, the season before.
Right now.
I want to make sure
this season and every season that's ever happened before that. I think LeBron's been better than him. Every single one.
I can't get with this logic, man, because we got a guy who has so the 19 when I'm watching him, I'm gonna take the box score off. So the nights when I'm watching him turn into LeBron James 39-year-old, where he doesn't run as fast, when he's turning the basketball over. Those nights are better than when Jayson Tatum has bad nights.
I think we compare LeBron to his old self, and
that's what you're doing right now, Moss.
No. What I mean is, LeBron has clearly declined from what he used to be, contrary to what Ron used to believe, that LeBron is still the same guy he was 10 years ago. We can understand LeBron James has clearly declined from what he used to be.
Yes, he has.
So we rank LeBron lower because we saw what he was 5 years ago. Is that he's clearly worse. LeBron James' decline at where he is now, to me, is still a better player than what Jayson Tatum is right now. He's a better playmaker. He's a better decision maker. Down the stretch of games, you definitely trust him with the ball in his hands way more. He's shooting the 3 better than Jayson Tatum is. He's still better at the rim than Jayson Tatum is. He's still better in transition than Jayson Tatum is. The argument would be that defensively, his motor is not consistent at all. And Jayson Tatum is the far superior defensive player. And then in the mid-range, sure, give it to Jayson Tatum. But I'm not much of a believer in the Jayson Tatum.
Well,
mid-range.
if you
and then
pull
in the
up
post, I think LeBron James is a better post player than Jayson Tatum too.
That part I will give you, but
I think he's just better.
But if you pull up the side to side, chill. Just to be honest, I think I had this conversation before. The only thing Tatum has on LeBron this season, the traditional MVP metrics point LeBron. LeBron has 3 less games played. He's averaging 1.5 less points. He's averaging 1.3 less rebounds. LeBron has better passer, more steals, same as blocks, more efficient from the field, more efficient from 3. Tatum's more efficient from the free throw line. The effective field goal percentage leans LeBron. And like I said, the MVP metrics, they also
more
lean
efficient.
LeBron.
Are we talking significantly efficient? Because
I mean, so you got to think similar shot profile.
Right.
LeBron's shooting about 30%. He's shooting about 0.30 more, like for efficiency, like 58.
Damn, man. I mean, we in the same park.
59, 55 to 59 is a little bit of a gap considering the shot profile.
What's that, EFG?
Yes, they're
that's effective field goal. That's
LeBron's true shooting is higher as well, I believe. I might be wrong, but
you know,
which is crazy.
I know we don't like
worst free throw. He's a worst free throw shooter, so that means that this just shows the 3-point efficiency. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think LeBron. Honestly, I just that's why I said that's what I'm telling you, Chill. The MVP conversation for Tatum was so forced because it wasn't based on merit. Respectfully, it's not based on merit. He's a great player. He's going to be first team All NBA this year, but he doesn't have a case. He just doesn't have a case. And the fact that you're in LeBron conversations, and LeBron ain't in MVP conversations, I think it's just
but if LeBron was the 1 seed on the Boston,
he would be an MVP talks.
He'd be an MVP.
He would be the league MVP.
He definitely would be. He definitely would be.
I know
you hate that Swiper.
No, chill. That's your agenda. He would not.
No,
be.
it's not.
If it was Bron Swiper,
if LeBron was on the Celtics and they were running away with the league like that, he would be in
the league.
He would be in it. I don't think he'd be.
No, he wouldn't be in it.
I think he would be.
The way they want to give him an MVP at 39.
That's true. That's true, Mark. Yeah, I mean that would be an unmerited. That would be a meritless.
I agree. He wouldn't deserve it either. But like, even if you think Jayson Tatum is better than LeBron, it's not definitive enough to where someone who doesn't have Jayson Tatum top 10 is just crazy. Like Ron said, he doesn't have him top 10. Now, once he started saying like Devin Booker and I think some other names, I was like, okay, maybe you're dragging there a little bit. But like those 10 names, like Anthony Davis being, if he's not the best defender in the league, he's at least top 3. If he's not the best, he's at least top 3. I think most people would have to agree with that. The fact that his post play has improved tremendously. He's one of the better post up bigs in the league right now. His passing and playmaking has improved tremendously. As a passing big, he's leveled up. I don't know where I would rank him.
I'll give you the improve. But
his ability to play out double teams this year, much better than he used to be. Around the rim, fantastic. The mid-range jump shot seems to be looking somewhat closer to where he used to be. Now, he can't shoot threes, but that player right there, that archetype of great offensive number 2, defensive juggernaut borderline, has an argument to be better than Jayson Tatum. Steph Curry, if you think Jayson Tatum is better than him, I have a hard time thinking someone's better than maybe the 3rd biggest offensive threat in the NBA right now, in my opinion. The ability to shoot, I don't know what he's shooting from 3, at least 40% from 3 on the volume and the attempts he's taken, the attention he still draws.
I won't.
The attention he still draws, still being one of the best scorers in the league. The ability to make that Golden State offense with some of the worst floor spacing other than him look competent is a testament to how good Steph Curry still is. Shai, I think most people understand what the argument for Shai is. Great defender at the guard position, fantastic in the passing lanes, great ability to force turnovers, one of the best isolation players in the league, ability to drive by anyone, mid-range game, pull-up game, the ability to make step-back threes that he's got now, his passing out of double teams and creating offense for other people, one of the best offensive players in the league.
And we can't talk about Jason, and we can't talk about Shai being young. Just so we clear, he's only a year behind.
Yeah, he's 25. He's older than Luka Doncic.
And I ain't even talking about the age. I'm talking about with the draft class too. He came in a year after Jayson Tatum.
Yeah, he came in 21.
Yeah, he came. He's been around for quite a while. So definitely been around for quite a while. I won't argue that.
So Shai's argument is pretty obvious. Kawhi, I think my argument for Kawhi, I mean, he does everything Jayson Tatum does, but he's better at it.
Right.
Like everything. He's better on defense. He's more
intelligent. Today.
Yeah. He's more intelligent on defense. He's a better decision maker. He's a better playmaker. He's a better shooter. Yes. He's a better shooter.
Mars. Now, when you talk about playmaking, this is the same guy in Kawhi Leonard who doesn't pass.
That's where we disagree. I think Kawhi does pass.
I don't think that he passes. I don't think he passes out of necessity. I don't think he passes because
Well, he's a scorer. He's not going to pass
he's
because
not.
he's
He's
Steve
not an
Nash.
anticipatory passer. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, he's
I
not.
like
He's
it,
not,
but I
he's
like
not really
Neither
going to
is Tatum.
anticipate openings. But what's
actually he is though. Actually, he is though. Actually, he
Jason
is.
Tatum's an
Swiper.
anticipatory passer.
Yes. How many times have I seen him?
Nah,
How many times have I seen him
Jason
off
Tatum
the
makes
dribble?
moves
Did you
that-
wait? Hold on. Did you?
Nah, he
Did
doesn't
you see
react
Jason
to what
Tatum
the
yesterday?
defense-
The Nuggets had the scouting report on him, knowing exactly where he was going to pass the ball. That's why KCP had multiple steals on him when he tried to throw it over his shoulder to Kristaps.
Are we going over one game? No swipe.
No,
I mean, how many times?
no. I'm telling you, on the season,
Right,
he's not a consistent anticipatory passer.
That's
not
not
his skill
true.
set.
I've seen him plenty of times swing the ball to the corners. I've seen him
Again,
plenty of times anticipating when the defense is
But I
swinging
think for you
and
to
popping
say
the
he's a clear
basketball.
better passer than Kawhi,
I didn't say he was clear. I didn't say that.
or a better passer than Kawhi. You would
I
have
do
to then
think he
have,
is.
You would have to have evidence of Tatum being a creator, like creating opportunities out of disadvantages. Like that's the difference. Tatum is
Right.
a connected passer. I see it, it goes. He's not like wait, like set up, shuffle to the left, dump the
Right.
ball off, whatever. That's just not what he does. He doesn't consistently think that way. Because if that was the case, they would be in a different conversation if he was that level of passer.
So wouldn't an anticipatory passer recognize, okay, the defense is shifting. So when the defense is shifting, the defense is going to shift. This guy in the corner is going to be wide open. I could shoot this shot, but instead I'm going to pop it over to the corner, which I've seen Jayson Tatum do.
Skip pass.
Yes, I've seen him do that.
Skip pass.
Yeah.
I see Landry Shamet make skip passes.
But no, that's not the same thing. Because I
Kawhi Leonard makes skip passes. And Kawhi Leonard is much better out of a double team too. Much better. The ability for Kawhi to draw double teams and allow them to commit, making the next pass. It's a more difficult pass, but the shot quality that comes off Kawhi Leonard not rushing that pass and allowing the defense to commit is what makes him a better passer than Jayson Tatum. That's part of it anyway. And even if you don't think he's better, he's a better isolation player. He's better in the mid range. He's better from three. He's stronger. He's better in the post. I think he's better around the rim, but some people might not be as high on Kawhi Leonard's ability.
And honestly, he's only played 3 less games than Tatum, but somehow he's not an MVP conversation, even though the numbers clear for the most part lean Kawhi on the year. So again, this is like I said,
like
narrative.
Even then, I still got Kawhi over him. KD, I think, is similar to the Kawhi thing. KD is a just better scorer from everywhere. He's better at the rim. He's better in the mid range. He's better from three.
Buckets.
He's more than buckets. His
playmaking this season is still elevated. He's been
a better passer than him this year. Kevin Durant's been great as a playmaker.
Skip passes like you just mentioned.
No. Kevin Durant has been operating that offense.
And we're talking about
he didn't have a point guard on the court with him for almost half the year, and then he's been without Devin Booker for this large stretch. He's been fine as a passer playmaker. He's not been like apex like Luka and all them.
And I'm not saying that part. I'm not that part. I won't argue. But they give the ball. They give the ball to Kevin Durant most of the times with that Phoenix offense. 1 in transition, 2 in isolation. He's not making plays for guys like that. No, he is not. Jayson Tatum with that offense that they run when they do have 5 guys out and they do get action.
Oh, you mean the spaced out 47% of their shot profile from 3 offense? That's what they do. They toss the ball around the perimeter.
But that's not a hindrance to him. So and let's not make it sound like KD
is he a better on-ball creator than Derek White this season?
Is he a better
on-ball passer than Derek White this season?
The numbers might say different, but from what I've seen, yes.
All right,
we just don't see Jayson Tatum passing the same way. That's it.
We got to move on.
I love Jayson Tatum. So you making it sound like I don't like him. I have him top 10. You see, but then you making it sound like I don't like him.
I just have him arguably top 10.
I just have him arguably top 15. But we got to move on, fellas. I got super chats that we have to get into.
Let's do it.
Shout out to everybody that's been in here. Like the video if you haven't liked the video. If you have liked the video.
Hold on for a second, Ron. You know what's sad? Your mother dying. That's sad. My mother being sick. That's sad. Me having a conversation about a player being better than one player. That's not sad. This is a conversation. That's all this is. We're talking about sad. All we're doing is talking basketball. This ain't sad. This is basketball. You know what's sad? Losing your job is sad. Fuck you talking
about? Everybody spam sad in the chat, please.
Damn, sad.
Crying emojis, chat. We need crying emojis.
Right, that's sad. That's sad. Oh my God, I lost my job. That's sad. Me defending a guy who I think is a top 10 player. That's sad. I mean, get your own logic. Fuck out of here. I'm sorry, Ron. As you were saying.
You good, you good. As Chill said, if you don't have no logic out there, you can go to
Get your own logic. Sad.
www.goofylogic.com, and there you can find a whole pamphlet and a whole article of different logics that you can download and use and apply to your everyday life. But until you do that, go to playerschoicemerch.com, and then you can go check out goofylogic.com.
Do that.
Also, shout out.
It's up. Goofylogic.com. Go get to it.
Shout out to everybody that's in the chat right now. You know you can chat right now for $1.99. We have new memberships. If you do want to still chat for the $4.99, no, you will get access to our old playback streams. Speaking of playback, we had a fire playback last night with Chill with the Denver Nuggets and Boston Celtics. You can double down on playback and watch us again tonight. Join our room. It will be the Miami Heat in the OKC Thunder going against Dub and Damo. So I'm assuming Damo's going to be pushing his Thunder narrative. And Dub, obviously, is going to be pushing his Miami Heat narrative. You guys pull up to that. That's going to be a good one tonight on Playback TV. Join our room. We got a bunch of new members, and I want to keep showing love to our new members. But before I do that, I got to show love to Cheese because he just dropped his daily 5 Players Choice membership. So salute to everybody that just got a new membership. Welcome to the party.
We're looking out, Cheese. Appreciate you, brother.
Cheese, you the man. Avery Walton is a new member. Troy, the King of New Jersey, is
in the house.
A new member. Green became a new member. Dana Powell, new member today.
Word.
Projel?
No idea.
Projel became a new member as well.
Royale, maybe?
Jared Williams is also a new member. My goodness. We got a new member. Tay Luke 777. Shout out Tay Luke. Burvick Briscoe became a new member today. Thad Neal is also a new member. David Estillo is a new member as well. King Shotta 442. Tyrone Winston. And Turn Up AG is also a new member today. Shout out to everybody that's became a new member so far in the show. Yeah.
To the show, fellas.
Merry Christmas.
All right, y'all. From the top. Adam West said, talk about them Nuggets, Chill.
Oh, man. I saw them yesterday. They were fantastic. What can I say about them that hasn't already been said?
They were okay.
It's Mr. GQ followed up with that, said Swiper. Assert your dominance, or this will quickly become a pod about how the Celtics lost and not how great the Nuggets are. They are the team to beat is not enough. Give us our respect.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody kind of knows at this point that Jokic and Murray the best duo in the league, and this is the second straight game that the Celtics and Nuggets have played them, and Jamal Murray has outplayed Jayson Tatum. So, you know, that's a problem if your best player is getting outplayed by the second best player on the other team, and then the other one is just in the conversation by himself. But shout out Peyton Watson. That's the real conversation, honestly. Peyton Watson is a special player.
Before yesterday, Swiper, before yesterday, I'm thinking to myself, I think Holiday might make the playoff roster and Najee might be off. Before yesterday, I'm watching that. I'm thinking to myself, Holiday might be on the playoff roster, and I wouldn't be surprised if Najee was a scratch come playoff time on that playoff.
I'm surprised Holiday's not playing more.
Yeah.
Like in terms of his ability to play defense and just knock down threes, I think Holiday fits perfectly with that team.
It's because he's not a true point guard. You know, Malone loves point guards. That's why Reggie played 11 minutes, but Holiday played over him in that second half because of that.
Swiper, how do you feel about Christian Brown?
I like Christian. Yeah, I think he's a good he's a really good defender. He's a rebounder, but he doesn't have like an offensive skill set that you can really point to. Could you see how even Peyton got to the mid-range yesterday, and he's able to hit that shot pretty consistently. Christian, I think, is just he's still figuring out like how to utilize his athleticism. I want to say he set the record. You know, he set the record, I believe, at the combine for 40-inch vertical. I think for that year, like he's a leaper. But yeah, I think some of this is just he just is still figuring out like how do I utilize this? I think what does he shoot? I think he's shooting 36-37% from three. So
he doesn't take them. But he doesn't take like he be open. Like that's my issue with him. Like in the playoffs, I'm not sure how much he can play, especially with like.
Well, he'll have to play. He'll have to play because he's going to be the backup two behind KCP.
That's my concern really. Is Christian Brown's offensive assertiveness.
Right. Would that be due to his role? Do you feel like Mike Malone might be holding? That's what I was asking, because Mike Malone, when you got rotation guys like that, because Bruce Brown was different. Mike Malone turned him loose. does he turn Christian Brown loose, or does he
Christian doesn't have the
That's what I'm
skills to
talking about.
turn
Like,
loose.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Does he see him and he sees that his skill set may be limited?
Peyton's the one to turn loose. By next year, Peyton's a turn loose player. Right now, Peyton is still figuring. This is chill. This is his first year playing a lot of ball since his senior year of high school. He didn't play last year.
He didn't even really play at UCLA. Yeah.
He barely played at UCLA, averaged 3 points a game. So Peyton is literally like almost a rookie this year, and you just see how good he's. He didn't when he started this year off. Like the conversation, I knew he was going to be like this, but the conversation was like, is he going to be in the rotation? And then literally from that point to now, he's probably their 6th best player on the roster, Chill.
Grindo24 said, can we get a moment of silence for Akira Toriyama?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, guys. Ron, before you go any further, who is that?
He is the creator of Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball GT, any version of Dragon Ball that you saw. He created the show in the 1990s. I myself grew up on watching DBZ. I don't know if any other anime fans in here, but he definitely kicked off a lot of our love for it. But he was one of the first people to create a show that had a script where it wasn't just fighting for fighting, but there was like connectivity to honor, friendships, and family, and the idea of protecting your planet. There are a lot of elemental, humane themes that he built into the show. So he was a kind of a one of a kind creator of some really, truly spectacular art.
All right, dope. I'm not familiar with the anime world, so okay, I got you. Dope.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Z is major. I definitely grew up on it. Had a major impact on my life. So shout out to him. Rest in peace. And also just everybody that he's impacted. It's been major for them, and just the whole anime world, just what he impacted while he was here and what he's going to impact in the future too. Just, it was just major. It's touched a lot of people, helped a lot of people. So that's what's up. I'm happy for all the work that he's done, all the work he put in. And he's definitely a founder and forefather of, just the anime world in general.
Oh.
Yeah, that's another conversation. That's not necessarily this kind of player choice, but the impact that like anime and these creators, and I think Japanese culture has had on the development, especially of a lot of kids, but especially Black and brown kids. We all tapped into that stuff when we were young. That was like right next to basketball and football for us. So yeah, that's definitely a really big loss for sure.
Yeah, I know my son is 3 years old. I can't wait for about 3-4 more years for me to go ahead and throw on that Dragon Ball Z, and we're gonna watch it from the Frieza saga all the way to Majin Buu, all the way through. We watching every single saga. I can't wait for that.
Hey man, make sure you tap into Black Clover too. That's definitely a show to tap into. It's my dog.
Okay.
Asta.
All right, y'all. Leaf Diggy just shot through a super chat. He said, "I'm live from side prison."
StreamYard prison.
I'm live from StreamYard prison. That Minnesota game last night was very evil. Ant played that game like it was his last, but if he needs that just for them to win that close, they won't go far. Swipe a man, nuggets and fries on me. B2B.
Back to back.
What? I heard my man Leaf was in jail, and I'm as a representative, I just wanted to find out what was going on, because he told me last night he don't know what was going on. So
he's rightfully incarcerated.
Is he?
Yeah.
I mean, he did say something to the effect that Tony Parker's a top 30 player all time. That definitely warrants a 10-year prison sentence. 100%.
He's rightfully incarcerated.
Okay. Morris, he's incarcerated because of his nasty takes, or he's incarcerated because he did something nasty?
No idea. I just know it's the right reason.
Oh, okay. So you just well, that's not cool, Mars. We can't just throw dudes in jail just off the strength. We ain't doing that. No.
Don't worry, Lee. I can put some money on your books.
Yeah, yo. What's going on? Get my dude out of jail. Anyway, Ron, as you were saying.
Did y'all tapped into that Minnesota game last night?
No, I just seen the block. That's what I was
and it's crazy, man.
So I watched the whole fourth quarter. And I think going into the fourth quarter, Ant had, I think, 29 or a low 30s. And it was, I think they were up like 2 points. Ant just proceeds to just go crazy the whole fourth quarter. Because we just had that conversation yesterday. I'm like, okay, it's no cat. What levels can Ant elevate his game to? And what I seen down the stretch last night, I might have to say I'm starting to feel a little different about Ant. I haven't been as high as everybody else with Ant, but the way he closed the game last night with Mid-range, hit a 3, came back, hit another mid-range, went to the free throw line, missed the free throw. I made the first free throw, missed the second free throw, but in an effort for him missing a free throw, he gets back. Hallie makes an amazing pass, beats the defense. Neesmith has a wide open layup, or so we thought. Ant recovers from the free throw line, goes up, and I'm watching in the way that the shot's blocked. I'm thinking it's got to be Rudy Gobert. I'm like, damn, that's a good ass block, Gobert. They replayed and I see it again, and I'm like, no, it's Ant coming out of nowhere, cleaning the backboard, sending the shit, basically with the game-winning, game-saving block.
Game's over. Game was over. That was it.
The way he played in that last 2 or 3 minutes was special. It really was special.
Well, we talk about, and Swipe and I have had this conversation, we talk about how stagnant the Minnesota offense can get. The action isn't the issue more than it is the conversion. So I appreciate how physical Anthony Edwards is when he's getting downhill. The problem that I have with some of the action, not all of it, the majority of the action is good. But when we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, like the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game, where Ant has the ball 26, 27 feet away from the basket, I don't need Rudy Gobert to come up and set a screen for me. You can beat that guy one-on-one. Because when you bring Rudy up to set a screen, now what that's doing is Ant has got to play off pick and roll. Ant shouldn't have to play off pick and roll with Rudy Gobert, who, by the way, they missed him. That 18 he had yesterday should have been 25. They missed him 3 or 4 times wide open at the rim. Or when he got switched on to Naismith right at the rim, they missed him. And I think that a guy like Mike Conley should have been more cognitive of that, to recognize that I got a big guy at the rim. That game should not have been as close as it was. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate what Ant did. I dig how physical he was, getting to the mid-range, not just getting to the mid-range, but also getting to the rim. But the fact that he's got to get the ball, that's why Cat is so missed. The fact that he's got to get the ball to Slow-Mo and then move out of the way because Slow-Mo can't create his own shot. And Slow-Mo is now on the block looking for other people. That's where Cat is missed, because Cat would have gone quick. I think that the action that they get primarily is good. I just don't like stuff like Anthony Edwards having Rudy Gobert come out to set a screen for him when you're not going to use him in the pick and dive, especially in the meat and potatoes of the game. You could stay 4 flat, and if I'm going to create a shot for you, I'll create a shot at the rim and dump it off to you as opposed to him diving, because if you miss him, now you clogging. Not only are you clogging the lane, but you also stagnate the offense when you do that.
How do we feel about Ant shooting 35 shots last night, though?
I mean, that's fine. That's just the way the game script went. But to be fair, they play versus the Pacers. The Pacers have been giving it up to everybody this year. Giannis has 2 50-point games, I think, versus them this season. They don't play any defense at all. And you saw what they did to the Mavericks.
50. He put 64 on them.
Right. But I think he twice, I think 50 and 64, I think were the numbers. And then he chased Tyrese Halliburton down the hallway. So I think, yeah, they don't play any defense, but I think the game script led to Ant taking 35 shots. They don't have shot makers on that team, Ron. They don't. They don't have shot makers on the roster. Now without Cat, it's going to be Ant, it's going to be Mike Conley, and Monte Morris. Not Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels ain't a shot maker.
No, I don't like that at all, Swipe.
So that's what I'm telling y'all, man. Like, without Cat,
I don't like that at all.
We had this whole conversation yesterday. Without Cat, they are going to be in a rough place.
I think they did a good job. I think they did a good job yesterday, Ron, because Indiana is a team that speeds up the game, and they want to play fast. And the fact that Rudy got back on defense and protected the rim, did as well as he possibly could in slowing down their fast break. And when they got into the half court, I thought they did a good job in holding those guys to one shot. I said this, I'm on record saying this. I think Miles Turner, I think he's soft. And I'm still standing on that. The fact that Rudy pushed him out of the lane when they got into that half court, and I thought they did a good job in pushing Halliburton away from the basket and just diverting his vision. But slowing down their transition game was the difference in that game yesterday.
All right, fellas. We're going to keep it pushing. Also, you know who else got minutes for Minnesota last night that I didn't even know played for Minnesota? They really didn't play that bad either.
Lou Garza?
Nah, TJ Warren.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It really didn't look that bad. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe TJ might be able to get back to his old ways. One of them 1 years where they were somewhere in Disney or something like that. Never know. World Peace says start bench cut. Joe Johnson, Dame, Paul Pierce.
What? What is it again?
Joe
Paul
Johnson,
Pierce,
Dame,
Paul Pierce, Dame, cut Joe Johnson. Cut. Yeah, start
Yes.
Paul Pierce.
Yeah.
Start Paul, bench Dame, cut Joe.
Yeah, that's easy.
I want to start Dame, but I
I
can't.
don't even like Paul Pierce like that, but yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
He's the only real Hall of Famer in that group.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Drink More Water said, he said, I've said from the start that Boston's bench is not that good. They don't have one guy that can either create for themselves or defend at a high level. Denver outscored Boston's bench 28-14 in a 6-point game.
Yeah, Denver's bench ain't good either, just to be fair.
Right.
Neither one of them have.
I thought Pritchard's giving them good minutes off the bench. I'm cool.
Yeah.
I wish Cater was actually healthy because I want to get Cornette out the lineup. The way I feel about Dwight Powell in Dallas, that's how I feel about Cornette. He shouldn't be playing. I don't love him.
Thickest Pilot 9 said Jokic is him. Tough seeing him bully KP like a paperweight, literally getting anything. C's might have the best record, but the Nuggets are the best team in the NBA. What can the C's really do to be the best?
Play better.
Be better than the Nuggets.
That's it.
Make threes. Make threes. That's their whole bag is making threes.
We'll make some free throws and they win this game in the whole narrative.
7 for 14, Mars. They free throws. Jaylen Brown, what are you doing?
He doesn't
If they make free throws and they win the game.
Isn't he shooting like 66, high 60s or low 70s from the free throw line?
I've never.
But chill. I saw him yesterday. He's built like a safety. He looked like Cam Chancellor, just smaller. So it ain't like he's kind of boxy. So like it makes sense to me.
And his free throws is stiff. It's like it doesn't look fluid. It just doesn't look.
He looked like he should be setting up. He'd be setting up and getting a bubble screen right now, getting a now screen. That's what he looked like, bro. He's huge.
You want to put Jaylen Brown on the line of scrimmage. That's what we want to do. Take that Celtic uniform off and go get a Patriots one.
Yeah, the Patriots need a receiver, bro. You need to go play.
Yeah.
Drip Bayless said, they say the 18 Cavs is one of the worst teams to make it to the finals. How many finals do you think the 18 Cavs could beat? How many finals teams do you think the 18 Cavs could beat in the last 20 years? I think the 22 Celtics, 23 and 20 Heat, the 20 Suns, and the 03 Nets.
Like losers? How many? The losers that they could beat?
Yeah, just teams in general, finals teams.
Maybe the winners. Maybe if you think they could beat the team that won.
The 2018
Suns? The Suns wasn't in the finals in 20.
Yeah, the Suns were in the finals 21, so they could definitely beat the Suns. Could they beat the Bucks team that year?
I don't think they're beating any of these teams.
I don't think they could beat the Bucks. The way that the Bucks was rolling, no, I don't think they could beat them. But 18 James was fantastic, man. Holy shit. I thought they could be. As a matter of fact, wait a minute, because I thought they could
beat LeBron James and then he loses, and then it's not his fault; it's everyone else's.
Wait a minute, I thought they could beat Houston. So, yeah, if I'm going to stay consistent with my logic, absolutely. I thought they could have beat Houston in 18. So those other teams you said, like the 22 Celtics, yes, they could have beat them. Yeah, they definitely could beat the 22 Celtics.
They beat the 07 Cavs. Let's not forget about them. They made it to the finals. They beat them. I think they could beat the Magic too. Magic the year that they where it was Kobe versus them.
09 Magic. Maybe. Let's give LeBron the he could have won a finals in a different year MVP. Let's give him that one. Yeah.
Oh, you are something else, man. I swear.
He couldn't win it in 2018 himself, so let's just play him against the 09 finals. Maybe he can win that one.
He could probably beat those.
We'll give him the finals, the hypothetical finals MVP 10 years prior. We'll give him that.
And the 2018 Cavs, I definitely think they could beat the 20 Heat. Yes, I do think they could beat them.
The Heat, of course. Well, the Heat were hurt. Remember, they didn't have Bam. Bam was injured, and
they could definitely beat them dudes.
Matter of fact, that was one of a weird year. That was one of the weakest. Because they had mad injuries on that side.
Salsa Valley's been a member for 7 months. Salsa Valley said, "I've been sad since I heard the news last night. Look at my profile pic. R.I.P. Toriyama."
I'm clearly in the dark, and I'm going to keep quiet about this because this is a big deal.
Just tap into it.
It's clearly a big deal. Like, oh shit, like who is this dude?
You gotta think everything you would like to see in
anime. I'm sorry,
everything you would like to see between people, like regular shows. Think about it. In anime, you could turn it up to 10, and you could tell any story you want with any kind of graphics you want. Anything. Right. They got anime for you. Chill. Shoot, you want a love story? You look like a romance guy. There's romance animators, all kind of stuff.
I am in a romance. Yes, sir. I am a romantic. No doubt about that. Yeah, I am. I might look hard on the surface, but yeah, I'm a softie when it comes to stuff like that. Word, I am.
Yeah, you could tap. Matter of fact, you could tap into Steamboy, Howl's Moving Castle, Princess Mononoke, tap into all that stuff. That's right up your alley.
Clearly, it's a big deal, man. I'm gonna go do some homework on this after I leave y'all today. I'm gonna find out who this dude really is. Yeah, I will, no doubt.
Cam Runcho said, first things first, Thunder up, baby. Second, I missed the first half of the show, but regarding to the T-Wolves, does the defensive upside of the Timberwolves without Cat give them a chance at all with Ant-Man going crazy?
I just think that losing that, I think losing that element of Cat, I think this sinks their chances of winning it. And the fact that he's got to come back when the playoffs start without playing for 6 weeks, I don't think we recognize how hard it is to get into that mode. This is not like he got hurt in December and we could get him back after the All-Star break and he can get geared up for the playoffs. We're already asking him, who hasn't played in over a month, to get that mode when he hasn't been in that. No, I think this really stretches them. So, but real quick, Damo, I actually got a sack for you today, B. Here you go. I'm passing that to you. Yeah, I got you.
Appreciate it.
You straight, brother. I got that. That's on me today. Because dudes think that I'm just they just think that I'm telling you to pass it all day long and I ain't chipping in. Nah, I actually brought it. I brought the goods today. I got you, brother.
Well, appreciate.
That actually leads me into my next super chat from It's Mr. GQ. Chill must have knew this super chat was up next because Mr. GQ said, "Yo, Chill, pass that, buddy's girl." Can Boston's record be fraudulent due to the fact that the East is top heavy? The top teams in the East had better records last year too. Every game in the West is a war.
No, it ain't. No, every game in the West is not a war. That's number one. Number two, I think the Eastern Conference is a lot better than what it's been in the past. I think you guys are still stuck on that narrative from years ago that the Eastern Conference is weak. I don't think it's as weak as it used to be. I don't.
Well,
I think it's a
look
lot
at the
better.
bottom of the East, and you tell me if it's weak or not.
Right. I do think that the bottom of the East is
What's the middle? What's the middle of the East?
Let's see, the middle of the East. The team that was in the middle of the team that was in the bottom of the East. If I'm not mistaken, the team that was in the bottom of the East last year was in the NBA Finals. So
yeah, well, they were hurt. They were also hurt all year. Then as soon as they got healthy, they started.
Okay, first of all, no, they weren't hurt all year. Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, they were.
No, they were not.
They're shooting. They're shooting. Discipline. They were the number one 3-point shooting team the year before.
This was last year. Are we talking about? No, they weren't.
Remember,
so that's not true. Max Strus played. Bam played 77 games. Max Strus played 78 games. Kyle Lowry played 67 games. Not only did he play 67 games, Jimmy Butler played over 60 games. They were not hurt last year. They just were playing bad.
4 players.
That's their core.
I didn't hear no Tyler Hero respect. That's crazy. You disrespecting Tyler Hero? That's crazy. All right.
No, I'm not disrespecting Tyler Hero.
They were the number 3. They were the number 1 3-point shooting team in the league, I believe, the year before.
Right.
And then they got injured, and then they had a different personnel. They were playing differently, and then as soon as they got healthy again, they started bombing away on the Milwaukee Bucks and them. So I don't know, man. They weren't a real number 8 team to me. They were just slacking all year.
All right, keeping it lit. SMN RNDM said if Tatum was forced to take the shots Luka takes, he would average 10. Not to take anything away from Tatum, but having such elite teams means he gets a lot of open looks. For me, SGA over Tatum.
You can't say someone would average 10 and then say you're not taking anything away from them. That's you're like, taking it away from them.
That's like saying, hey, Mars, no disrespect, but you're fat. I'm not going to right. I'm not going to say I can't say no disrespect and then disrespect you. I can't say that. No.
But and also a lot of Luka's shots, some of it is because he kind of just wants to take.
Is that good? And he's that good. Can we be honest, Mars?
Some of it is just that. It's not like there's sometimes options where he could take an open shot, but instead he wants to go tween step back.
And he could do that.
Question: if you take Josh Giddey off of the court for the Thunder, are they still double teaming Shai? Like, who are they sending? Who are they leaving open to double team Shai or to prevent?
They still double teaming. They just get punished. They were just.
That's what I'm saying.
Mars want Giddey off the floor regardless. So don't ask Mars.
I know if Giddey's on the floor, hey, get off Giddey, let him shoot. But if they put Isaiah Joe in instead of Giddey, just for example, I mean, you're leaving shooters open, so then teams got to play bad defense to guard you. I mean, I guess if you can,
It would be Lou Dort. They'd help off Lou Dort.
Yeah, that's the biggest trend regarding Lou Dort in the playoffs too.
King Shada 442 said, "Can we talk about Jordan being exposed for being unguardable, unable to go to the left? Left, please." He's a right-hand bandit. Hashtag we done with the 90s. Hashtag the 80s.
You done with the 90s. We not done with anything. That's
we done with the 90s. In honor of the 80s too. I'm doing everything right-handed for a whole week. Everything with my right hand on the show, man.
I think it's incredible how you can say that.
Honor him.
I think it's interesting to watch Kobe Bryant tell us that KD couldn't go left. That was what it was right. He couldn't pull up off the dribble going right, and that's what he sat on. And once he sat on that, KD wasn't effective. But then KD developed that. And then that narrative went out the window. But there was a time when that was going on. He couldn't go right and pull up. So KD can't go right. KD can't go right. KD didn't have a right hand, even though he's right-handed. So
wait, hold on. Do we honestly think that the most talented basketball players in the history of the world that play guard could not dribble with a hand? When I guarantee you, if you pulled up at a park right now and you asked Luke Garza to get out there and heady tween you to death, he would 11-0 you in a 1-0 game both ways.
Yeah, but Luka Garza would average 30 in the 90s.
Yeah, he can go left and right. I'm 100% telling you.
But why can't he play today?
Because he's so bad defensively.
Out of the 450 top
offensively, he's better than most bigs in the league right now.
So why isn't he playing?
Because he's that bad defensively.
Yeah, last I checked, you and I actually had this conversation, Mars. Last I checked, Sabonis is not blowing me away with his defense.
Yeah, but what Sabonis brings offensively in terms of his playmaking and passing isn't what Luka Garza is a scorer.
Even if that's true, Mars, you just told me that he's still better than most of the bigs offensively. He's still better.
Scoring wise, yes, he's better than him.
Vooch isn't great Vooch isn't great defensively, but he's starting in Chicago. So why isn't he?
I don't think you're aware of how bad Luka Garza is defensively. But if you put him in an era where he didn't have to,
I'm very well.
If Luka Garza was in an era where he didn't have to guard in space and he could just stay around the basket defensively, he'd play and he'd average 20 easy. Luka Garza would average 20 in the 90s. Zach Edey, who hasn't been able to be drafted, and that's why he keeps going back to college, would average 20 in the 90s. But the game's changed. So now they're surplus to requirements. That's not a knock on how good of a player Luka Garza is or Zach Edey is. Zach Edey in the right era for him would have been crazy. Jahlil Okafor, another one who would have been a crazy player in a different era, but the game just passed them by. So no matter how good Jahlil Okafor was at basketball, great post-up big, one of the best back-to-the-basket bigs we've seen in recent memory, the game just didn't go that way. So he ended up being out of the league. But you put him in an era that fitted his play style, Jahlil Okafor would have been a 20 and 11 big in the 90s. Luka Garza, a stretch big, who could put the ball on the ground, who could shoot mid-range pull-ups, who could play with his back to the basket, great touch around the rim. Luka Garza would put up numbers in a different era. That doesn't mean he's better than, I don't know, Rick Smith. I'm not saying that. But he's just in the wrong time for his game. That's what I'm saying.
And even if that's true, Mars, which I could get with that logic, but what I don't want to do is I don't want to discount what these guys did too. I don't want to erase that like Damo over here is trying to do. He's trying to erase my boys and trying to erase everything that we did because
we're done with the 90s.
No, we're not. We're not done with that sort of stuff. And the reason why we're not done with it is because those guys aren't what they are today without what was going on in the 90s, without what was going on in the 80s. None of these guys exist because that's where they got their games from. KD didn't just develop his game on his own. Dirk Nowitzki didn't just develop his game on his own. He watched Detlef Schrempf. He watched guys like that in order to develop his game and get better. So we're not just going to be done with this and just erase what was happening during that time.
We're done with the 50s. Why can't we be done with the 90s?
Now, I'm glad you brought that up, Mars, because are we? That's the history of the game.
Have you not heard the discourse around the 50s and 60s NBA?
We can't be done with it. You can't be done with an era and can completely erase what history is. You can't be done with it.
That's the reason why the people they're done with the 60s.
Hold on. I think we're getting this misconstrued. No one is erasing the 80s and 90s. No one is erasing it. When I say we're done with the 90s, I'm done being told that is the golden age of basketball. I'm done being told that, oh my God, the lack of defense, back in 96. Oh my God, these guys, I'm done being told folklore about these guys that a lot of people didn't even watch play. It wasn't even possible for people to watch all those games. But now when film comes out, we actually can go and watch Jordan wearing number 45, which means this is post him quitting, refusing to go left. When it's a simple, if you take the ball, dribble to the left, you might not turn the ball over. But he is refusing to go left. He's forcing himself to go right, turn the ball over. We see that, and now we have people literally not even being able to say, you know what, you're absolutely right. That doesn't make sense that Jordan was weak left-handed. You can't even say he was weak left-handed. Like these guys in the 90s, you can't bring up deficiencies because automatically it turns into, now we're comparing eras. What about the guys that no one's comparing? Like Mars said yesterday, two things can be true. Guys now can have deficiencies. Guys then could have deficiencies that people Chilltown, your age, or people that from that era don't talk about. Kenny Smith has been on record talking about early Jordan coming out of college did not have a left. He said his handle was weak, and he said it got better. I am of the belief. Now, saying we're done tonight, it's all fun, love, and games for me. It's trolls. Now, certain levels of it, I'm with. But to the extent of saying Jordan just didn't have a left, like obviously Jordan had a, he could go left to an extent. But it's hilarious to watch all these cherry pick clips of him not going left, like literally, like, all right, what are we doing? That's funny to see from a guy that was Mr. Perfect, from the guy that is the epitome of basketball.
Right, he was the epitome of basketball, right? And we only got to see him. There was no league pass. There was no NBA TV. ESPN wasn't playing games like they're playing today. I'm on record saying I would love to have seen John Stockton more than what I saw him. Than in the 80s and I would have loved to have seen him more than what I've seen him. But what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to discount what these dudes do, even though they had a weakness. I'm not going to eliminate that because a guy like Michael Jordan, who did have a weakness with his left hand that he developed, but I could say the same thing about plenty of guys today who, when they first came into the game, they all had weaknesses that they developed those weaknesses and they got better at them. And I don't want to put this guy on a pedestal and go, yo, this is what he turned into. I don't want to put this guy, just put him on a pedestal and say he was always that. No, Jordan wasn't always that. Jordan didn't always have a money mid-range game. No, he did not. Jordan didn't always have a two dribble going to the left pull-up, but he did develop that. And I don't want to discount that by a couple of clips and somebody going, we done with the 90s. No, we not done with the 90s because the 90s, focus, Damo. We're not done with the 90s because and the reason why we're not done with the 90s, because the same reason why we're not done with the 80s, and the same reason why we're not done with the 70s, and the same reason why we're not done with the 60s, because this is the foundation of what the game is today. It was built on these guys, and these guys are the reason why guys like Anthony Davis, guys like LeBron James, guys like all of the guys like SGA, guys like Jayson Tatum, all of these guys, Luka. All of these guys, the reason why these guys are who they are today is because of those guys. So I can't be done with what was going on in history because when you say you're done with something, you're going to completely forget about it. And I won't allow that. No. For my generation, I will not allow us to be done
with the 60s. You may not be done with the 60s. That's fine. The people have decided. We talk about anyone bring up Jerry West and say he's a top 15 player of all time. They're going to disrespect the era. Talk about how they played plumbers. Anyone talk about Bill Russell? They're going to say it was plumbers. 5'11 dudes. 5'11 white guys. I've heard all of it about the 60s. Unfortunately, the 90s is up next. I don't know what to tell you. If you can discount the 60s and say it doesn't count because of this, and this, the footage is coming out of the 90s. You're gonna have to be done with the 90s.
And I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just crazy to me how in today's product of basketball, all the media, the talking heads, the former pros are people that are constantly belittling the product. In no other sport are you going to turn on the television and see the talking heads of the sport, the greats of the sport, disrespecting current players, disrespecting the current game. And it's happened since I was in high school, and that's coming up on 10 years ago. Since I graduated in 2015. Since then, people have been discrediting, disrespecting the current era, putting down these players, comparing the players to yesteryear. So now when you have these people who go through the archives, and like Chill just said, he wish he could have seen Stockton more. And I'm telling you, he could make a whole laundry list of players he wish he could have seen more because it was not regularly available to watch these games. So when we go back and start pulling up this film of guys that were in that era that didn't even watch these, they watched as much as we did today. Like there's guys that they just didn't see. So when we pull up these clips and you start seeing the deficiencies, and now we start getting on those guys in the 90s, and now as we done with the 90s, now it's a problem. Oh, we're trolling. oh, that's disrespectful. I'm not going to allow it to happen. But we can sit up here on this platform, we talk about basketball, and shout out to Big Ox. But Big Ox will complain about today's product and the best players of today's game all episode if you wanted to, and nothing is seen wrong with that. People in the chat will champion it. Everybody in the comments, yeah, he right, man. I can't stand watching Luka do whatever he do. That's not real basketball. But then when you get some guys going back and watch Jordan not go left, nah, that's different. Jordan had ended up developing and this, that. Okay, LeBron shot ended up developing. He still has.
You believe it's all disingenuous, basically, is what you're saying.
It really is. It all is. Like for me, I'm a troll. I love having fun with it. I have my limits when it comes to it, but this shit's too funny to me. Hey, we done with the 90s. It's just too funny. I love it.
I'm cool with Damo accepting it. I'm cool with Damo just.
Yeah, and ever since I found out that Draymond Green just passed Larry Bird on the all-time three-pointers list,
I gotta have a cape on at some point.
It's compounding the logic.
This is my era of basketball.
Give me Draymond Green.
I have to have. I'm gonna enjoy it, and I enjoy it for the most part. Obviously, there's parts of today's game that's whack, but I enjoy today's game. So it really irks me when people are constantly crapping on the product, especially the greats. It hurts watching Charles Barkley and Shaq berate new players all day. You don't see that in other sports. The talking heads in baseball don't do that. They support their players. The talking heads in football, they don't do that. They support their players in the game. They might have their differences or different opinions, but they're not going to go on TV and complain about it.
We never hear them complain about Dick Buckus and all that stuff.
Never. They're not, oh, man, hey, Saquon cool. He ain't no Walter. Like, that's not a conversation being held by running backs talking on Fox Sports.
We still think Barry Sanders is the best thing of all time if he didn't end his career short.
And people can, and you know what's crazy? Everyone has that in unison, like, oh, Barry's the best. But we can still hype up any running back coming. We can still praise Derrick Henry without bringing up Eric Dickerson. Like, we can bring up these players. Today's day, you cannot bring up a great current player without comparing him A to another player in the league or B a player that he's emulating. You bring up Tatum, he's no LeBron, he's no Luka. You bring up SGA, I mean, he cool.
But see, I don't do that though, I don't do that though, Damo. Like a lot of the guys that I compare to yesteryear, I compare them in a positive way. I don't go, yo, this guy would have ate this guy's lunch. When I talk about Chris Webber, I talk about Chris Webber in today's game. I'm thinking Chris Webber would be awesome. When I watch Jayson Tatum, I feel like Jayson Tatum is everything that Tracy McGrady was supposed to be. I don't think that he was the athlete that Tracy McGrady was, but I feel like he's becoming all of that stuff. When I talk about the players from yesteryear, I talk about those players in conjunction with the game. I don't talk about those players like, yo, he would have just killed everybody in this league. Well, wait a minute. That's because the league is different today. Sure, the rules are different. Yes, I think
social media did that.
I think social media absolutely
just because everything got clickbait and all that stuff. Yeah,
100% they're responsible for that because they don't go back and do their homework. You can't. I'm not just because I'm from that era. I'm just the voice of it, and I'm just talking about it. No, I was there and I did my homework. I remember a lot of that stuff. So when I talk about Michael Jordan, I don't just talk about Michael Jordan in the sense of Michael Jordan couldn't go left. Well, actually, he could go left. He had a really good weekend. He wasn't throwing the ball between his legs 6-7 times. He did that one time against Larry Bird, but he didn't have the ball handling that these guys have today. But he was very effective going left. Not just that. Hakeem Olajuwon, the greats. When we talk about these guys of this era, I don't want to overhype them, but I don't want to undersell them neither. Like, yo, these guys of today, because the game's changed, they're just so much better because the skill level. Well, wait a minute. The skill level back then was really good. The game was just different. And I can't compare Draymond Green as a long ball shooter to Larry Bird when Larry Bird was barely shooting 2 threes a game. I can't compare those two
because he wasn't
because the game is different. Yeah. Would you focus, Mars?
Draymond shoot more threes now in a higher percentage than Larry Bird ever did. I don't know what to tell you. Numbers
all right, y'all. I'm gonna let Teddy Hart get by on a discount today, Teddy Hart. But I need my 2 cents next time. I swear. I bet you we better get that. We need that, yo. For real. You better go in your piggy bank. Go in your son's piggy bank. Go in your nephew's piggy bank. Go in somebody's piggy bank. But I need that 2 cents next time. But anyhow,
okay.
Teddy Hart said, I find it nasty. The NBA doesn't count ABA stats, despite agreeing to do so before the merger, nor BAA/NBL stats prior to the merger in 1949. Just wish the record books were clean. If you merge the stats from all the parties, all parties should count.
Do they count? Do they count Joe Namath's AFL stats to the NFL?
No.
Right. So why are we doing that?
But if we're being honest, though, we probably should add a particular player's ABA stats because if Dr. J's numbers from the ABA were connected to the NBA.
It's ridiculous.
He has,
Five
he has,
MVPs?
he has 30,000 points. I know that.
Five
Right.
MVPs,
Which is an
Damo,
exclusive
did you know
club,
that?
Mars.
Dude, he had 5 MVPs total. Did you know that?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
insanity to me.
He was the league, yo.
His
He
ABA
was the
stats,
league.
bro. Oh my gosh.
If I'm not mistaken, Damo, if and you can go fact check this for me, but I think over 100, almost 200 players from the ABA played in the NBA after it folded.
And Michael Ray Richardson and all them. Like the ABA used to be stacked. It was showtime.
Yeah, well, Michael Ray Richardson should have stayed off that powder.
Well,
If I'm
yeah,
not
but that was
mistaken.
that was the time.
Yeah, Mars,
Yo,
he was one of those candidates. He was.
Liam McLean sent through a super chat and said, "Why just the Frieza saga?" That's crazy, Mars.
Yeah.
Why just the Frieza saga? The Raditz saga sets the stage for Goku's
I agree.
development, and the Vegeta saga is awesome. Garlic Jr. is underrated. Watch from the start to boo.
We
I don't
gotta
know if
start
you
from
know
the
this,
beginning.
Damo, because Swiper was explaining. I don't know who Akara. One more time, what is that?
Toriyama?
Yeah,
Toriyama guy.
I didn't know who he was. That's what this is about. So he was explaining who that was. I wasn't-
Man. R.I.P. Toriyama, man. Dragon Ball is definitely one of
Well, Swiper, be easy, brother.
my go-to
Damo
anime.
leaders, man.
Merry
Me and
Christmas.
Damo, best friends in the world, man. Thank you, Chill, Ron, Mars.
Yes,
y'all my
sir.
people, man. Shout out to
We'll
y'all.
see you
See y'all
soon.
on
We'll get back to it again.
on Monday,
Jason
man.
Tatum-
No more
Jason
Tatum
fix it up.
MVP prop from Chill.
Jason-
I'm glad we
Jason
put that to
fix
bed,
it up.
Damo. Please get
Like
him.
I feel like I was in an intervention today. Like I feel like I walked in the room and like my whole family.
Yeah,
is
we
sitting
sat
around and, like,
sat you down. We put
That's
our
what I
hand
feel
on your
like.
shoulder. We put our
That's
hand
what
on
I
your
feel
shoulder
like.
and sat you down and said, "Look,
I
all right,
I feel like
let's
I feel like I walked into the house and my whole family is sitting down. Like, yo, we need to talk. Sit down, yo. We need to have a conversation.
put the bleed green down, y'all.
Yeah,
That's all right.
because this is what's going on and you can't see it, and we have to have a conversation about this. Like,
Chill, was the record set straight today, or do you still feel how you feel?
he's still family. He's still family, and I'm still rocking with him.
Okay. Sports PSP just came through with the super chat and said, "Chill, is Ben Simmons' career over?"
It may be. It may be. That back injury is nothing to play with. That back injury is nothing to play with. I think that it's way more serious. I don't know why they don't. I don't. If they cut him, they could still get paid because it's an insurance thing with the NBA because his back is bad. So they could the same thing happened with Chris Bosh with the blood clots. They were able to the Miami Heat were able to benefit off the insurance. So if that's the case with Ben Simmons, because that's a breach of contract. If I'm able to play and I'm not playing, they could fire him. So why has he not been able to play? If his back is bad, then cut him and then collect the insurance. What am I missing here?
Yo, if you haven't liked the video yet, go ahead and slap that like button. We almost at 300, but let's get up to 600. We could double up in this next hour of the show. Let's go ahead and do that. As of right now, though, I know the new NBA MVP ladder just dropped. So I'm going to go ahead and share this on NBA.com. And we're going to talk about it. I mean, we have talked about Tatum and what he looks like in MVP this whole first half of the show. We talked about SGA a little bit. Obviously, Joker's doing what Joker's doing. But let's see exactly what the NBA has going on right now as is. We'll go ahead and share this on the screen. You can see, we're going to start with this next 5. So you can see at 10, we got Donovan Mitchell. At 9, Kevin Durant. At 8, Anthony Davis. 7, Kawhi Leonard. 6, Domantas Sabonis. How do you guys feel about this 6 through 10 right now? Is this legit? Should it be somebody else that's in there? Somebody getting snubbed?
I'm surprised Kawhi's below Sabonis. But none of them have a chance of winning it. So
No, they don't.
at least, hey, congrats on being top 10, I guess. But I don't think any of them are going to get real votes.
None of this matters. This is a participation trophy.
I thought Donovan Mitchell should have been. I thought Donovan Mitchell should have been for what he did for Cleveland before he got hurt. I mean, I thought that there was a conversation for him maybe cracking the top 5. Maybe.
Yeah, I assume he moved down because of the missed games recently.
Yeah, he got hurt, but he was fantastic.
All right. Well, moving along at 5, we have Luka at 5. How we feeling about this? And as you can see, he's averaging 34.6, 9 rebounds, 9.8 assists, damn near 10.
If he was a top 3 seed, he'd be right at the top of the list. If he was a top 3 seed. When it matters, when you win in the league MVP, it matters. I think Joker and Russell Westbrook are outliers. That's stuff that happens once every 20 or so years. That doesn't happen on a regular. Winning matters when you're talking about winning the league MVP.
Or twice in 5 years, but
and then we haven't. And before that, it happened in '76, Mars.
Yeah, back when it was player voting. Yeah,
right.
Doesn't even count.
Just so you know, Jabbar. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Luka, give up the MVP dreams, man. Just hoop. Try to win a championship, man.
It's not meant to happen. Yeah, it's not meant to happen.
Yeah, just give it up, man.
I feel bad for Luka right now. I'm not gonna lie. Luka's going berserk right now. And what he do last night? Yeah, like what, 35?
He beat Miami, man. That's what that matters. It doesn't matter what Luka's stats are. If his team won more games, he'd be higher. It doesn't matter. He could drop 50 and lose. They'd rather him drop 25 and win.
So that's what the league MVP is. The most valuable player to your team's success. That's what the league MVP is.
So it doesn't matter what Luka's stats were. What that matters is the W or the L. They won. So Luka's case was helped.
All right. Well, speaking of winning and helping cases, the man we've been talking about all episode, Jayson Tatum, is at number 4 on this list. Obviously, he's leading the charge for the best team in the NBA by far. He's averaging 26.8, 8 rebounds, 4.8 assists. Do we feel like this is a good place for Jayson Tatum?
I'm cool with it.
Right outside the top 3? Yep.
I'm cool with it.
Sure.
I had him winning the league MVP before the season started, but I'm not there anymore.
I thought he'd win it too.
I knew they wasn't giving it to him, man. Stop it.
Why not, Dama? What do you think the issue was going to be?
It's the land of the Euros, man. Nah, I ain't gonna lie to you. He just hasn't been doing enough. Like I said, typically, if you're gonna be the best player on the best team, and if you are sacrificing your numbers for your team's success because you have a stacked team, typically you're doing something. There are exemptions. There are special cases. I want to say we talked about it yesterday. Hell, 07 Dirk probably was the case that's best comparable to Tatum. And I can say that was in a time where it was more acceptable to give the MVP to just the best player on the best team.
They didn't want to give Steve Nash 3 straight. That's what it was.
Yeah. So nowadays you have to do something. You have to be incredible as a player. And with Jayson Tatum, there's too many things you can point at and be like, yeah, nah, he's just not. He's not killing it right here compared to these other guys who are also winning.
Yeah, man, it's just Shai, Giannis, Jokic, and Luka. They just.
Luka's behind him, so Luka needs to lock in. Luka needs to win some games. He's not really valuable for.
Yeah, that's crazy. In my opinion, that's crazy.
Nah, it's the way it goes.
All right, keeping it pushing up the list. Giannis is at 3. Obviously, the Bucks are the number 2 team in the East. Giannis is averaging 30, 11, and 6 assists. Thoughts? Comments?
I think Giannis should be at the top of this list, to be honest with you. Him and Joker. I understand. I think he's ahead of Shai. I think he's the engine. As poorly constructed as that roster is in Milwaukee, I'm on record saying that they fool's gold, and Giannis is the one that I feel like is keeping them afloat. Without Giannis, this is when we talk about being more valuable. I feel like without Giannis, this team is something completely different and in a bad way, both offensively and defensively. I feel like he's the engine that makes them go, and I feel like he should be at the top of that list.
I think we're desensitized to Giannis's greatness. That's what I think.
It has been, Moss. Yes, that's a fact. It has been.
He's been so great for so many years that now I feel like, even though I think this is one of his better seasons, arguably his best season, I think people are just taking for granted what he's doing. Mm-hmm. I think he's probably been the second best player, this second or third best player in the league, just like in terms of performance in the regular season. And obviously one of them being Luka, but I mean, the 8 seed, so I guess he shouldn't be above him. But I mean, he's got team success. He's playing fantastically. I think third, I guess, makes sense. But for me, he'd be in the top 2 for me. But I guess third makes sense.
Can you imagine being so good that we kind of scoff at it? That's where we are now. Like 31, 11, and 6. It's like, all right, that's just you. So I can't really talk about you like I'm talking about other guys who just showed up to this level because you've been so good for so long that Okay, that's just you. That's just who you are.
I'm waiting for them to get desensitized to Jokic.
That's gonna happen too, Mars.
Yeah, at some point, yeah.
That's gonna happen.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yes, 100%, Damo. Well, wait a minute, Damo. Why don't you think it's gonna happen? You think it's a Euro thing?
Because of the way he plays. I was thinking about it like, who are guys that I've been desensitized to? And the first name I was thinking at first was Stephen Curry, and then I had to really think about it. I'm not desensitized to it because when I watch him play, I am still amazed. When I think of desensitized to something, I'm thinking when I watch, like I was going to say, Giannis is having for me, it seems like he's having a quiet 30-point per game. He's having a quiet MVP type of year. And that's quiet. That's crazy. That's insane. I can watch Giannis drop 50 and say, man, that was a cool 50-point game.
He had a 64-point game this year. He scored 64.
And literally, it's just like, it's another day at work. It's like watching Tim Duncan. And it's not. It's literally not that. But that's the feeling I get. And I don't get that feeling from, and watching a guy like Jokic play, I feel like he still does spectacular enough things and still can do things. I'm a stiffler for passes. I don't think I'll ever be desensitized to a guy being able to just get the ball to a teammate in the most creative way. That's going to be something that I can't never be desensitized to. He's going to be a guy in today's game of stretch bigs and finesse bigs who he can still give you post work. And whenever I do see him give that rare instance of post work, I'm going to be amazed. Like, I can't be desensitized to that. I'm just speaking for me. Now, the rest of the fans.
Did you get desensitized to LeBron?
That's what I was about to ask you.
Okay.
I really didn't. And maybe it's biased, but nah, it was always something where it was like, God, that boy good. That boy is good. Like, surprisingly.
And I think to Damo's point, because my next question to you, Damo, is him being a Euro, does that have anything to do with it?
I'm gonna say no, because now I'm thinking, like I said, Stephen Curry, Kyrie Irving. I've watched Kyrie play since he played 7 games or 11 games at Duke. I'm still not desensitized to his game. His game he still does things to astonish me.
Are you desensitized to KD?
No.
Okay.
The reason why, Mars, is because guys like James, guys like I think that people will be, but to Damo's point, there's always something more there. Always. So you're always going to see this guy as good as he is. You're always going to think that there's more there. He's going to give you more passing. He's going to develop something else in his game because he's been so good for so long, and the window is just open for him to just do more. So it's always going to be something more, as opposed to Giannis. Giannis is just running down the gut. According to the masses, he's just running down the gut, dunking on people. He's just bullying people. So there's really not much more there. As opposed to if Giannis came back and had a money mid-range game, you'd be like, holy shit, what else is there? If Giannis just started knocking down threes at a respectable rate, you'd be like, wait a minute, how much more game does he have now? So the same kind of the same logic with that is the same thing with Joker, because Joker just does so much. It always seems like there's just more there for him.
A guy, two names I can think of guys whose games I really did become desensitized to. One is DeAndre Jordan. Desensitized to it. That was in his heyday. I'm thinking like to his heyday, like DeAndre Jordan is just like, all right, whatever, buddy, go dunk it, cool. And the other one, Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is at the start of his like defensive reign. I actually was relatively cool with Rudy. Like I was like, all right, that's dope. 2 years after, Baguette Biombo. Like, all right, at this point, he is. You call
it didn't take no time for him to become Baguette.
Nope, not at all.
So you become desensitized when you just don't see growth. It's like
when I don't see a thing that's like you're surprising me, like I'm astonished, or you can even say growth. But I'm not seeing growth at all. I can't even say that because and maybe I'm just being casual when I say this. What real growth has there been for Kyrie's game since his rookie year to now? Where was I can understand he's probably gotten better at aspects of what he does best.
Like what was something that he didn't do that he does now?
Yeah, that he added to his game. Like
I think he's a better finisher. I like to think that he's.
He was always a tough finisher. Thank you.
The back to the Boston game was something he didn't come with. He didn't come in with his little.
He did learn that. I will say he did pick that up along the way. That's
but fair. I get your point. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. It's almost different with Kyrie. Like, you can't ever not like that. If you don't like Kyrie, you just a hater. It's almost like, and this isn't a diss, shout out Big Ox, but it's almost like if you just don't like Luka, if you're desensitized to Luka, you just hate Luka. You just don't like him. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't, it's different when you talk about guys like Giannis, DeAndre Jordan and big men. But when you talk about guys like Luka, Steph, Kyrie, and you could even throw Bron in there just because he did a little bit of everything. It's like that's like saying you're desensitized to Kobe. Like,
now that I'm thinking about it, one, people are saying better passer. He became a better passer. Again, Kyrie, I always thought Kyrie was an underrated passer. I don't think he added passing to his bag. He probably just started passing a bit more and better because he started to learn the game. There's no part of Kyrie's game outside of how Mars pointed out the back to the basket post work that he added that he didn't have before. Like things that he's doing now, he did at a less efficient clip or he did a lesser of back then, but he still had it. He still could finish. Probably finishes better now, but he still had finishing ability. He still could. He was an underrated passer to me. Like he still had things that he could do, but he just wasn't doing as great. What did he actually add? I'll say a guy like Paul George. When you're talking about a guy with just to take it out of the big man thing, I was desensitized to Paul George for a little bit.
Paul George legitimately got better too.
He did, and he got better.
Kawhi Leonard did. Just like Kawhi Leonard.
I was desensitized to Paul George. It's not no hater stuff. It's just for a bit of time. It was like, all right, bro, that's just Paul George. Like it's PG.
Also, the thing about that though too is PG played with KD, Bron, Steph, then Giannis and Jokic came along, and James Harden, Russell Westbrook. So Paul George actually, for his talent and how good he was, he kind of got the short end of the stick. It's like, yo, I'm playing with all of these giants, and I'm actually great on both ends of the floor. I just can't quite do what these guys do. He played with legends. Teddy Hart sent through a super chat and he ran my 2 cents. You better, Teddy. Teddy said, I was born in 93 and only caught the tail end of the Bulls run and was addicted to the MJ VHS tapes, like MJ's Playground, Come Fly With Me, etc. Seems like there was no quote-unquote greatness fatigue for fans with him like it is great players today.
Well, first of all, you didn't catch the tail end of their run because you was 3 years old. So you didn't. You had no idea what was going on.
He saw 98. He was 5.
Yeah,
he saw 98
in kindergarten. And guess what, Mars? In kindergarten, I saw Walt Frazier. I didn't know really much what I was doing when I saw Walt Frazier at 5 years old. No, I didn't know what was going on. But
Walt Frazier at 5. Oh my God.
Right. So, but the point, but the point is Jay didn't, because the reason why Jay didn't lose that wow factor is because Jay was doing stuff that we hadn't seen. Like he was a better version of Dr. J. And Dr. J always had that wow factor. So when Jordan showed up, Jordan was doing everything that Doc was doing, except better, playing higher above the rim, adding more flair. So he always had that. Plus the style was different. He was a good-looking dude, and he was changing his uniform and wearing bigger shorts and the sneakers and all of that stuff. So there was always anticipation for Jay, always. Mm-hmm. So when that stuff. When that stuff was happening,
it on your face. Don't do it, Damo.
But could you imagine if MJ's the same player, just swap him with Clyde Drexler?
I was going to ask, did they have Clyde Drexler VHSs? Like, did they have grandma's VHSs? So it sounds like the NBA had the same problem then that they do now. They just push one guy. They push the same handful of guys. And that's what it is. Listen, I'm not mad at you, Hart, that you grew up with the Michael Jordan VHS tape. I just want to propose, if they had a Barkley VHS tape, would you have been hooked to that too instead?
Well, the Barkley tape came later. The Barkley tape came in like 92. But, and real quick, Damo, I'll let you know this. When Gilbert Arenas talked about how we got to get rid of the Euros. No, the Euros were part of the Euros were just part of convenient time. And what I mean when I say that is, when the 80s was going on, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, those two guys, they built the league because Magic was charismatic. Bird looked like Middle America, which is who was in the NBA arenas. That's who Bird looked like. So that's what was filling up arenas. So enter Jordan. This guy is going to take the game to the next level. He's going to be Doc. Except he's going to be more charismatic. Well, the Detroit Pistons come along and they body slamming this dude to the ground, and they're basically throwing a monkey wrench in the whole plan. They're like, wait a minute, we can't have this. This brand of basketball is not going to end up making us money. So they had to shut the Detroit Pistons down. Well, they made the game a little less physical. In the process of making the game a little less physical, well, the influx of the Euro shows up. So I think it was more a matter of convenient timing for the Euro more than it was the Euro just completely changing the game. No, that's not what happened.
All right, y'all. Back to the MVP ladder. At number 2, yes, you guessed it. It is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's averaging 31 points a game, second in the league. Good for 5.6 rebounds and 6.5 assists. The Thunder are currently a half game out of first place in the West. He's taking his team to new heights. He's taking his game to new heights. How do we feel about him at number 2? Is this deserving?
He deserves to be a number 1. Shai
You think he should win it, Damo? You think he
Yes.
should win it?
100%. Yes.
It wouldn't bother me if I found out that he won it. It would not. But to Ron's point, and I know this sounds ridiculous, I have to actually watch, and I've watched a couple of Oklahoma City games this year, and it took me some time because he reminded me of how I felt about Brandon Roy. I'm like, yo, why is this guy not just? Why am I not in love with this guy? Why do I not love his game? Because he wasn't doing anything that I was like, yo, but meanwhile, he kicking ass, right? He was kicking ass. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't I love this guy's game? But the more I watch him, I see how crafty he is. I see how much he affects the game. I see that you don't have to play above the rim. You don't have to skip in the lane and do circus shots. And you can affect the game in a bunch of different ways. And because he's doing that, that's what's propelling his team. So if he won the league MVP, that probably wouldn't. That I don't think that would bother me.
I think I actually want to see Shai win, and I think he actually has a valid case to win too.
He does,
but it's and for multiple reasons. Obviously, the league wants to push younger players. They want to push, different narratives and things like that. I think Shai might be that next poster boy for a whole new narrative to push. And also the thing about it is like, if Shai gets the MVP, I don't feel like the NBA is giving him anything at all. I think he's earned every single bit of his MVP praise in terms of, and the biggest thing is like, it's him giving you 31 a night, like consistently. Like he's good for a 30 piece.
I think he's got the most 30-point games in the season. I think he's got 40. Nobody has more than that.
It's just said in the article it was just 46 whenever it was at the time whenever they wrote it,
which is crazy.
Yeah,
they lead the league in steals too, but it's not just his performance and his stats and all of that. It's the fact that he really got this group, which is a talented group. They're not trash. It's none of that. It's a talented group, but he really got them at the top of the Western Conference. And I think they're going to finish number 1 with Cat going out. I think it's now theirs to lose.
Well, here's the thing, Ron. If Minnesota, they got 18 games left, right? If they go 500, that's still 53 wins for them. Last season, the Denver Nuggets, 53 wins. That's good enough for numero uno. So if Minnesota can go 500, 53 wins, that's still at the top. That's still at the top of the Western Conference. So I feel like it's still. I don't know if they go in a tank, but I mean I think they could go 500 without Cat. Now when we get to the playoffs, that's a different conversation. That's a completely different conversation. But as of right now, if they get in, if the season continues to go the way it's going, like I said, they got 18 games left. They end up in. I'm sorry, 18. They got 18 games left. If they end up 9-9, that's good for 53 wins. That's still ahead of Oklahoma City.
Well, I mean, what do you got the Thunder going? Because the Thunder have, if Minnesota has 16 games, the Thunder have 17 games.
No, Minnesota's got 18 games, so I think that
Thunder
Oklahoma
got 19.
City, the Thunder probably has 19. So, I mean, to be honest with you, it's not like a guy has won the league MVP. You got to be the number 1 seed. I mean, Steve Nash won it. They were the 3rd seed when he won it, right? when Steve Nash won it, they were the 3rd seed. When Olajuwon won it in '94, they were the 2nd seed. They weren't the number 1 seed that year. They were the 2nd seed. So you don't necessarily have to be at the top of you don't necessarily have to be at the top of the league in order to the number 1 seed in order to win the league MVP. That's not the case. They can finish with the 2nd seed. He can still win the league MVP. That could happen.
All right, y'all. At the top of the list, obviously, it's none other than the Serbian monster, Nikola Jokic. He's number 1. It looks like he's on pace for his 3rd MVP. He's averaging 26, 12 rebounds, 9 assists. He's had 32 triple doubles. You can see right there on the screen, or he dropped his 32-point triple double and has 51 double doubles on the season. How we feel about this?
I feel like with the exception of Giannis, I don't think that there's anybody that's doing more for their crew than Joker. And with what Joker brings to his crew night in and night out, that's something that you can't replace. That's why Joel Embiid was what Joel Embiid was for Philadelphia. So everything that they run in terms of their offense, in terms of how fast they play, their rebounding, everything is Joker. So I feel like when you're talking about a guy being more valuable, I don't think that there's a guy that's more valuable in the league today than Joker. And if the league MVP votes ended today, I think Joker wins it. And I think he wins it going away, to be honest with you.
I'm not mad at it. It makes a lot of sense. I'm not gonna say he doesn't deserve it. Maybe it's just bias for SGA of me wanting him to want it more. If I hear Jokic gets his third, I mean, of course, I'm not gonna be mad at it. He definitely is a deserving player, phenomenal player. I feel like he wins this. This will be the first MVP he won to me where it's not going to be as strict by, all right, now he got to win the championship to solidify it. Like, I feel like this is one of those ones too, where he's already showing you he has the goods, so you can just accept this MVP for what it was. You don't have to caveat it by what he does after it. You don't have to do any of that. It's simply just a Jokic MVP.
Does
But I
this
feel like
MVP
whoever gets it, also let me say, I feel like whoever gets this MVP, it's going to be as strict as, yeah, but Joel wasn't here. Like Joel was
yes,
hurt.
I think
That was the MVP. So now that he's not here,
it's
real second place.
In your mind, Damo, does this league MVP, if Joker wins this league MVP, would it be similar to Steph winning the NBA championship in 22?
What do you mean?
What I mean is,
what
I mean is all the narratives around Steph Curry winning the NBA championship after when they won it in 2015, all the narratives after when they lost in 2016, and then now we win it in 2022 to solidify that what I did wasn't a fluke. So now we have come around the Joker in 2024, who he won the league MVP in 2022. They got swept in the playoffs. He won the league MVP in the back-to-back season and was the 6th seed. I think they lost in 5 games. So they end up winning the NBA championship. So now he wins the league MVP again. Does this stamp who he actually is?
For some people, I guess maybe. I don't know. He pretty stamps for me. I think he is gonna win it. I just find this is off the top of my head the second time that, well, I can only go back to Steve Nash. That's the only one I remember, where the best season a multiple time MVP had is the one they don't win the MVP. The best season I think Jokic has had was last year, and he wasn't the MVP. But in 21 and 22, and this year, he's going to win it. So I just find that interesting. Like 07 Steve Nash, to me, was better than 06 and 05. But he didn't win it in 07, but he won it in 06 and 05. Right. It's just interesting how that happens. And I guess in the future, 20 years down the line, the people who weren't around to watch 23 Jokic, I mean, he'll still get the praise because he won a championship, so people are going to still praise him. But maybe they won't recognize how great he was in a regular season last year because he doesn't have the MVP award, which is just interesting to me. But yeah, I do think he's going to win it. I don't think he's going to stamp anything. I think his championship stamped him for most people. I think most people, everyone who was doubting him and saying he wasn't this, he wasn't that, you can't win like this, blah, 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 they kind of got proven wrong last year. I think this year would just be them. I don't want to say a makeup MVP because he deserves it, but like I think it's them making up for them not wanting to give him the MVP last year. I think that's what this would be. And I think that's why he's probably going to win it. Because I think they know he should have to.
Well, two things.
Somewhat, yes. I think if he already had 3, like if he won it last year, I think Shai would have a better chance of winning it this year. But because I think they know Jokic should have 3 MVPs, he's going to have 3 MVPs after this season, I think.
Is it fair to say, Mars? Because I'm on record saying this. I think that one of the main reasons why he didn't win the league MVP was because there was conversations that were going to be had if he had done that people weren't prepared to have. And because of that, they ended up keeping the league MVP away from him. And to your point about having a better season and not winning the league MVP, I mean, I felt like 88-89 Jordan was better than 87-88 Jordan. I thought he should have won. I thought he was better
Magic
that year.
Right?
No, Yes, in 89, Magic ended up winning it. That's correct. I thought 88, 89 Jordan was better than 87, 88 Jordan. But I feel like narratives and I feel like conversations that are going to be had. So if Joker wins the league MVP last year for the third straight year, they win the NBA championship, and he wins the finals MVP, we now have to have a different conversation about Joker. A completely different conversation that I feel like people aren't prepared to have, because like Damo talked about, we done with the 90s. Well, guess what? We have to start talking about those guys in the 90s in a different way, and some guys going to have to start being moved around simply off the strength of what Joker did. So now we move to this year, which I think is going to make it worse, Mars, because if he wins the league MVP and they win the NBA championship but in back-to-back seasons, now that's a completely different conversation that we have to have, that I don't think people are really prepared for, but now have to have with Joker.
Oh yeah, the Jokic conversations will get interesting if they win another championship this year. Very interesting.
Big Ox in the building. What's going on? I've seen you active in the chat. Seems like you've had a lot of opinions on what's been going on throughout the show. Is it anything that you need to set the record straight with that you heard today?
Before you set the record straight on anything, Big Ox, set the record straight on that bubble goose. It's cold out there, yeah?
Oh yeah, no, it's cool. It ain't too cold.
Oh,
yeah, a little bit. Nah, I mean, shit, typical stuff, Ron. You be letting a lot of bullshit slide, but I don't got it. No big deal. I just jumped on because I'm like, y'all look bored. Where the energy at this Friday?
What are you talking about? We having a conversation.
I'm chilling.
Because we ain't rah. Yo, it's casual
boy,
Friday.
What's up, man? Y'all wake up, man.
It's casual Friday, Big Ox. We talking basketball.
And in the chat,
we had the rah early.
Y'all supposed to be happy I'm free.
Yeah, we had the rah. Bored? Nah. We always bring that energy. We had the rah early. It was serious. Man.
Yeah. Low up here.
The only reason you happy is because y'all barely escaped the Wemby-less Spurs. That's the only reason you happy.
Oh, that wasn't nothing, man. Mini Max sauce. You know what Mini Max sauce gonna do? That wasn't nothing. And then DeMontis playing defense for the clutch bucket. That was great to see.
Oh, he was still right. Yeah, I seen that.
That was a bad.
Yeah, but you know the crazy thing is Pop is telling Zach Collins like, "Yo, go high." Zach like I think he just tapped in like, "Okay, yeah, you're right, Pop. Let me go up there." He not like sealing off or putting himself in the way of the ball. DeMontis can see Pop telling him the same thing too. So that's just anticipating. You know what I'm saying? He's like, well, okay, shit, I'll go get that. But Zach Collins should have came to the ball, but it was more so Zach Collins being lazy and DeMontis, just having a sense of urgency. That was dope though. Good game. But so what y'all was just talking about, the MVP?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I don't see how Shai don't get the MVP. I'm pretty I don't, especially if Luka doesn't get a top 5 seed. I don't see how Shai doesn't get this MVP. It's going to kind of piss me off if he doesn't get it.
So what's talks when Shai gets this MVP?
I don't know.
I know it's a shift in narrative.
It's going to be met with him losing in the playoffs. So it's going to come with expectation for next year. That's what it's going to come with. But
where though, Mars? Because he's not going to win the championship. But he could get out the first round with the proper matchup. So if he gets MVP and loses like a good second round, 6-7 games, I don't think that's a bad look. That's a good season for OKC, if you ask me.
You sure that they're getting out the
for
first
OKC?
round?
But once you get the MVP, the media it changes real quick. Jokic got an MVP and lost in round 2 to the team that went to the finals, the Suns. He got criticized. And then the next year, his whole team was hurt and he lost to the champion Warriors. Got criticized. And Embiid just won it and lost in round 2 in a game 7.
Right.
Got criticized. Once you win an MVP, the media, they start harping on you. You got to win. Like, that's what it's going to be. You got to win. Now, I think that's wrong, but that's what it's going to be. If Shai wins an MVP and they lose in round 2, even if he plays well, it's going to be like, well, next year, OKC got to take that jump. They got a great young team. It's about, they got to make a move. They got all these picks. What are they going to do? They got to win. Blah blah. Like, that's what it's going to be. Like, they're already pushing, and that's fair, Spurs to make moves.
That's what I'm saying.
Mars, what do you think it should be, Mars? Like, if they win, if they end up losing in the second round in a 6-game dogfight, what do you think the narrative should be on Shai, as opposed to they lose in the first round and they get mocked? What do you think it should be on?
I don't think the narrative should change on Shai. I think the narrative on Shai is that he's one of the best players in the league, and I don't think there's a need to rush one of the youngest teams in the league to win now.
Right.
That's the issue. That's the issue at everything. There's no patience. That's my issue. There's no patience. I'm hearing the national media say the Spurs need to hurry up and build around Wemby,
which is nuts. That's
like
nuts.
There's no patience. Like Shai is the oldest player on OKC core. He's 25. Jalen Williams, I think, is 22. I think Chet is 21. Number 3 is like 22. They're 21, a young team.
21. He just turned 21 a couple of months ago.
They're a young team. There's no need for them to rush and be like, well, when are they going to get a championship? Like, it's not that severe. And then if they don't win it, it's going to be like, did we crown Shai too early? Is Shai not who we thought he was? Like, and that it's so negative because you're so quick to expect these teams to win that now you end up putting some players on a pedestal that maybe Shai isn't the best player in the world. You don't need to crown him that soon. I'm not saying they're crowning him the best player in the world, but like there's no rush. That's what I'm saying. There's no rush. And an MVP is going to speed up the expectation. I just don't think that's
Damo. Why is that ridiculous, Damo? Because we know what the MVP entails, man. The MVP, when you get the MVP, the tag of the best player on the planet comes with that. That doesn't necessarily mean you are, but that's the tag that comes with that. Why is that ridiculous what Mars is talking about?
Because one, I feel like a narrative for most people will change is that when he gets his MVP, I think it'll be fair to say he is a superstar. I can't think, and for most people outside of like people with Mars' definition of a superstar. So that's what that most
stupid definition.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say we're stupid. I mean, it makes sense. The off court or that stuff does matter, but for most people, if we're just sticking to on court, what makes a superstar? Shai will buy. I don't think there's been a player that's won an MVP that wasn't actually a superstar in the NBA at that time. I can't think of one.
Steve Nash probably.
And if
I don't
you want to say
Steve Nash was actively a superstar, I don't.
Okay, that's fair.
By my definition, he definitely wasn't. But
I'm gonna say by Martians, he definitely was. But by a lot of people, I mean, if you want to say Steve Nash, cool. That's one. Who else? If we want to keep naming,
I think that's all I can
be
think
the
of.
exception. I mean, so outside of that, I mean, if you want,
sounds a little racist. My bad, but
was James Harden actively a superstar in 2018?
Hell yeah,
yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I think so.
I think Shai's crossing over into that realm, though, Damo. I think we're actively seeing it right now.
40, and that's what I'm saying. The MVP.
How many games does he have with 30?
40.
Not to cut you off, but how many games does he have? 46. It's a lot, man. Yo, come on. Proceed, Damo.
But
by that standard, Ron, shouldn't DeMontis be a superstar?
What, the double-double?
Proceed, Damo.
With all the triple-doubles?
I mean,
what's he at 20?
If DeMontis is a superstar, Steve Nash was a superstar.
That is very
well, no, I don't think DeMontis is a superstar. I'm just saying, Ron's saying that it's if you get a certain amount of these games, I'm saying I think 23 triple doubles is more impressive than
46 30-point games.
I don't know.
More than that.
I mean, I don't know.
Say, yeah, you got to think about that. Saying it out loud, Ox is a little bit different.
No,
and that's not in a full
triple
doubles.
Triple doubles is really hard to get though, Damo. I think it's easier. I think it's easier to score 30 than it is to get a triple double.
More than half the season. Every other game, I'm 30. Every other game.
Even one might end with like 60 30-point games.
Right.
I'm saying, like, what do we see more of? Do we see more 30-point games or triple doubles? Y'all, the chat act like I'm tripping. I don't think that's
triple doubles have definitely gone through the roof. Let's be clear.
They've gone up, but so 30-point games though, right?
Yeah, I mean, stats around the board are going up. Yeah, stats around the board.
That's all I'm saying. I don't think DeMontis Sabonis is a superstar. My bad. Go ahead, Damo.
No, you good. And when it comes to the Thunder and rushing the process, I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. We are in an era now where rebuilds aren't about to take you 6 years. When you look at the Thunder, the reason why I'm okay with now we're speeding up this process is because last year was the year where it was like, okay, no one was expecting you. And I remember going in this season, me and Ox having this conversation going in this season. Okay, this is the prove it year, prove that you weren't a fluke. A lot of people did have the expectation, like, all right, they're gonna come back down to earth. They're coming back down to earth. This will show that they weren't ready for this. They exceeded expectations. Like they are battling for the first seed. That means they are officially you're done rebuilding. You have a foundation, a strong foundation as long as everybody's staying healthy, and you have the tools to actually make your team better. I'm not saying go out there and just grab a superstar, but hell, you can do that to solidify the fact that you're ready to compete now. And when you think about it, Shai's the oldest player. Cool. We're talking about a Thunder team that in the 2010s, we're going to the finals super young. This is not different from what the culture of being a Thunder is. When you think about people that have been Thunder fans in the 2020s, lifelong Thunder fans, they're used to seeing young teams be successful. That's normal for them. That's a normality when they build that foundation. And on top of that, I'm not going to lie to you. It's about to be next year makes 2025. Shai gets MVP this year. He gets bounced in the first, second round. He is going to be halfway through the decade. Last time I checked, they started this rebuild when? It was supposed to start when they went and got Chris
It
Paul.
was meant to start with Chris Paul, but it really started in 20.
Started the year after. So if we're talking about a 4-year rebuild, that sounds long enough for a rebuild. 4 years sounds.
I don't think they're rebuilding now. I think they rebuilt for 2 years, and they've been
and they found their foundation, and they're getting their foundation.
I don't think.
Hold on.
I think they
still
rebuilt.
building.
They rebuilt.
They might not be rebuilding no more, but they're
and then
still
23
building.
they were elevating. 24 they've become a playoff team, like a playoff contender in the West. 25, I don't think that means now is championship or bust.
I'm not
but
saying
that's what the expectation is going to be with Shai and MVP. That's what I'm saying. I think
I don't know, Mars. I don't know if that's expectation right now. Even though, with that being said, they are a 1 seed, go back and forth 1 or 2 seeds. So based on seeding, you would think that people would look at it that way. I'm like Damo just said, I was the one saying, they're going to end up a 6 seed. But I was obviously wrong.
I think they were.
Obviously wrong. But I still, even regardless of them being a 1 seed, I don't think they're necessarily championship contenders yet. But still, with that being said, I believe SGA is playing MVP level because, no disrespect to his squad, I don't think that's a championship squad. So for him to have them in this conversation, he is balling out of control right now. So, and with that being said too, I think they're gonna still go get another piece or two. Like Ron said, they're not rebuilding, but they're still building. Next year, if the GM, everybody got their mind right, next year, OKC should damn near be on some people's favorites because, and I don't know what they're going to do in the offseason, but they're
taking that jump out. Wow, chill. We have to.
I agree.
I'm trying to keep it real. I'm just trying to talk no bias.
That's what I'm talking about.
If I do that and respect the game,
right,
I gotta respect that front office because they've been making moves, chill. So they're gonna do something that's gonna make it to where you know what.
That's what I'm asking you. So we go from a playing team last year to this year. What's the ceiling for this crew this year in your estimation?
Western Conference Finals.
So that's
okay.
So if they end up in the West Finals this season, next year, you dudes should be in the NBA Finals competing for the NBA championship.
Yeah, well, let's say it matches up some way. I don't know what the seeding has to be, but let's say it matches up to where let's go with Denver. Denver, they won the last year. Let's go with Denver knocking them out in 6 in the Western Conference Finals, right? Let's say that what they needed. Let's say that Chet was getting bullied or something. Okay, I've been pushing this name, so let me just stick with that same trajectory. Let's say they go grab Jonas Valanciunas to beef up the middle. I don't know. Y'all say Giddey is a negative because he's not shooting the ball. Let's say they go grab a shooter. I don't know who's out there. Is Buddy about to be a free agent too? No, they ain't just go grab.
Yes, Buddy is
easy. Bam. Let's say they go grab Buddy or something. Bro, with grabbing those two, what they're doing right
and
now,
that's not crazy. That's not even a crazy move. That like my thing is OKC has so much ammunition over there. Look, they got tanks, they got ships, they got anything a military could want. They have 22 picks. They have 22 picks. And look. I'm not even talking about the picks. I'm talking about guys like Giddey, guys like Cason Wallace, guys like we can go down the whole list of all these young assets that they have. The Thunder can damn near do something incredible. And
Ron, you know, they're pushing that Lloyd marketing line. I only want to go that far. I only want to go that far. You know what I'm saying?
Utah's not giving Oklahoma City Laurie marketing.
First of all, I don't think
you say they want Laurie 15 first round picks. You hear? Hey, chill. You think that until they throw some astronomical 15 first? Okay, take them.
Can you even do that? Can you? What's the limit? Is there a limit to first rounds?
Yeah, the limit is 5.
Okay, 5 first. Josh,
I'm taking 5
17 second round picks. I don't know, but
I know Danny Ainge. And if you think Danny Ainge is handing over Laurie marketing for a guy in that division, right? Even though he just did it with Rudy, for a guy in that division, I know Danny Ainge, and Danny Ainge is going to ask for 4-1s. He's going to ask for one of them kids. He is going to ask for.
And he's going
to get one. I'm not saying one of those kids. I'm saying one of them kids, like Jalen Williams. He gonna ask for somebody like that. That's Danny Ainge. I'm telling you that right now.
I'm not. But chill. This my thing. Chill about Utah. Utah's far away. I can see Danny Ainge kind of like, well, we can't do nothing with Lloyd right now anyway. They're not winning next year. Utah's not going to make a move this year to put them in contention next year.
Yes, they are. Wait a minute.
What are they going to do? Look at Utah. Utah's not ready.
Okay,
I'm not. I like Colin Sexton. I like Colin Sexton just like y'all.
Sure,
but he's not.
Sure.
He's not.
Utah's right outside.
Colin's not going to take
Utah's right outside the play-in, just like Oklahoma City was in the play-in last year. Just so you meant, just right when you just mentioned about the 22 first-round picks. Don't forget, Ron, they got 4 ones for Donovan Mitchell. They got 4 ones for Rudy Gobert. So they got a bunch of picks too. And they're going to be packaging. They're going to be putting together picks to get one, a free agent, which ain't nobody coming to Utah. We already know that. So it's going to have to be via trade. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
And we know Danny Ainge, how he puts packages together. So he's going to be on the hunt. And the last thing he's thinking about in the process of him building this unit is giving Lauri Markkanen to the Oklahoma City Thunder for more picks, because now that means that we're 2 years away. If we're going to give Lauri Markkanen away, now we're 2 years away from being 2 years away than competing. We ain't doing that.
Chill. I ain't gonna lie to you. Mate, call me crazy. In chat, I already know chat's gonna be totally against me when I say this. I don't care. I do my homework. If I'm the Thunder, I'm probably trading J-Dub to get Lauri Markkanen, because then I'm gonna trade up in the draft and I'm drafting his little brother Cody Williams, because Cody is phenomenal. Oh my God. I don't know if I don't know if y'all been paying attention.
Where's
Colorado.
He nice?
Cody Williams is nice. And he should fall between 4 to 7 is where he's probably going to fall.
Lottery pick.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
He is.
And if I wasn't so high on Sarr and I didn't feel how I feel about Ron Holland and Mattis, that would be my number 1 pick. Like those are the only 3 players I'm taking above Cody Williams. Everybody else, it don't matter. Cody is a bucket. So seeing how this draft is turning out, seeing how many picks you got,
is he better than his brother coming out of college?
Is he better? In my opinion, yes. And let me not say that, because I was taken aback by J-Dub coming out of college. I wasn't too familiar with his game coming out of college. So he surprised me about how good he was. So maybe I need to go back and see how good he was in college to make that comparison. But from what I'm seeing from Cody, and I didn't even know they were brothers until yesterday. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. That boy is nasty.
I know Cody Williams is going to be good because I'm not very high on him. And I'm wrong about every wing. So I'm not very high on him. So that means he's going to be good. So yeah, shout out to him. He's going to have a very good career, because I'm not very high on Cody Williams. So
all right, fellas, I got super chats from the top. Let's go ahead and get into them. Tito El Bandito said 88 Jordan or 23 JT.
88 Jordan.
2013 Lance Stevenson. There you
go. Jamal said,
I'm gonna fight you, yo. I'm gonna fight you.
Jamal said, I asked Chill this yesterday, so I'll ask the rest of the panel. If the playoffs started today, which playoff series would you be most intrigued by, assuming the 7-8 seeds stay the same?
So just so you guys know, Minnesota would have to see Dallas in round 1. Oklahoma City, they got to see Sacramento in round 1. Denver, they got to see Phoenix. The Clippers got to see the Pelicans. The Celtics would have to see Indiana in round 1, which I really like that series. Milwaukee, they'd have to see Philly. Cleveland would have to see Miami. Ooh, I really like that. And Orlando would have to see the Knicks.
I want Phoenix, Denver.
Phoenix, Denver will be interesting. Cleveland, Miami would be interesting, and Orlando versus New York would be interesting. Those would be my 3 favorite series. Those would be
I'm about to say New York, Orlando is my number 1. I would say my number 2 would probably be Minnesota and Dallas. I would love to see that 2 dogs going at each other. And the Lakers are a 10th seed. Jesus Christ.
Get the Lakers out. Get the Lakers up.
No, that Lakers Warriors playing game, though.
We done with the Lakers. That's what I'm at that point.
I'm done with the Lakers. I'm done with the Lakers.
Garbage. Bunch of garbage.
I do want to say, if Joel comes back, that Milwaukee and Sixers series is going to be heat.
No,
Milwaukee and Sixers.
You don't think so? If Joel comes back?
No, Damo, I mean,
Joel comes back 6 and 6.
Maybe 5.
I gotta remember Joel is mid recovery. Like,
he hasn't played
right now.
Ron, we talking about a dude that's basically we talking about a dude who hasn't played in over a month.
Nah, he's gonna come back 100%.
Shit, what you think? You think he forgot to play basketball? If he come back, he'll come back. He'll come back at like 85, 90%. He's still gonna be.
No way we thinking at a dude that hasn't played basketball in a month who just got a knee.
It ain't his ACL though, Chilltown.
It's still knee surgery. I haven't played basketball, so now I'm going from playing in February, right? I'm going from playing in February to now I'm playing in the playoffs.
Early February, all right. When did he go out? February. It was like February 5th, wasn't it?
The Warriors game. That's when he went out. The Warriors game. So
that was like February 5th, real early February, right?
It was right before the All-Star break. That's when he went out. So we go from that to I'm going right into the playoffs. The intensity, the schemes. I haven't had a tune-up to any level of basketball whatsoever. And now you're gonna throw me out there against Giannis.
But why are you assuming that shit? Real quick though, Ron, because my thing is, so we're already about 5 weeks in the recovery.
Right.
Already about 5 weeks in the recovery. Let's just assume it's a 6 to 8. Let's assume it's a 6 to 8. So that way he'll be good for, and that's clearing him to play. So that means 6 to 8. So that means 5 to 7. He's back on the court, getting shots up, going through the motions, non-contact stuff. He's in the pool. It's not like he's just coming from sitting on the couch. He's 4 weeks deep of PT, physical therapy. Right. He's not just coming fresh off the bench. On top of that, playoffs don't start for another 5-6 weeks anyway. 5 weeks. I'm saying
almost 2 months.
That's 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks back on the court, running up and down, non-contact, some light 5-on-5 stuff.
But then we do the same thing last year with KD. He had 8 games before the playoffs. 8 games before the playoffs, and you saw what happened when the playoffs.
You saw how KD played. He was balling last year.
But KD wasn't his stellar KD self. He was KD, but it was definitely more to be desired from KD.
I think Joel at 85%. It's still a problem and still going to muck up the
even if he's a problem, he may be a problem more for Indiana. But against Giannis, no.
It's not like Giannis going to be guarding him.
I'm saying who we talking about Giannis for?
Because Giannis is going to have to guard him from time to time. It's not like Giannis is going to just totally be away from him.
And he'll get cooked. Here's what it is.
He's going to be getting thugged down there on that block.
All right. Giannis ain't guarding no Embiid.
I don't think Giannis can hang with Joel on the block in any time.
Giannis ain't guarding Embiid at 70%, and that's no knock to Giannis. It's Embiid, but that's not going to be the matchup. The matchup is going to be the matchup is going to be the Sixers versus the Bucks, and Embiid, if he's healthy against the Bucks, 6 and 6.
What we talking? Like, what we talking? 20, 25 minutes a game, or pretty sure he's not going to be playing 33, 34 at that point.
Maybe. Well, the only way I see the Sixers winning is if
he on the floor. He ain't gonna be playing
if he's able to go. If he can't go, if he's able to go, but if he's not able to go, like and beat Embiid, Bucks and 5.
Right. But well, I don't think he's gonna be.
That's what I'm thinking, Mars. That right there.
Yeah, and it's reasonable to assume it. I don't think Embiid can go. I don't think he'll be able to go. But assuming he can go, I'm just going to assume he's healthy. If he's healthy, 6 and 6. Excuse me.
All right, y'all.
Don't forget that Kings OKC series. That's gonna be fun when we beat them in 5.
Yeah, that was my favorite series out west too. That's gonna be just 2 young teams going at it. Would love to see that. Nick Tri-State said it's funny because you're hating on Mike not going left when Bron in his first 9 years couldn't go right and shoot a pull-up jump shot. Bron only went left and pulled up for Jay for his first 9 years.
You see how defensive they get?
Hold on, Mars. Hold on,
Mars.
I got you. Watch this. 2 things can be true.
That's simple.
No, but when you bring up MJ, they just have to bring up LeBron. It's just a reflex.
That's fine. They just have to. Let them do that.
You can't say a word about MJ without LeBron being in the next sentence. LeBron just has to come up.
I don't know.
MJ couldn't do something while LeBron couldn't do this. Like that.
I don't know, Damo. We done with the 2010s. We over it.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, man. My guy Sage on the pod said it last night. Basketball is the only sport where no fan likes any era. Like, we just don't like nothing. Like, every era, there's a flaw. People complain about it. We just don't like nothing. Basketball, I guess basketball is just unentertaining at the professional level. Like, every era has a problem, has an issue, has a critique. We just don't like nothing. We done with basketball. How about that? We done with the NBA. I'm pulling up the NBA.
As a right-handed player, though, I mean, we all know, like, when you're right-handed, it's just easier to shoot going left. Like, You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean you necessarily can't pull up going right. It's just much more comfortable pulling up.
No,
going
but
left.
LeBron couldn't. LeBron couldn't.
I mean, I don't want to.
He would dribble right, and then he had to bring the ball back across his body because
he had a hitch in his shot. Yeah,
right.
It was
just
it was goofy.
Nothing wrong with it. Well, there is something wrong with it. He's a bum, but I mean, other than that, yeah.
No, you don't love the 2000.
Turn Up a G said, "What's up, panel? Big fan of the show. Show y'all like the video. Can the panel, including Ron, list their top 5 players at each position all time? No trolling.
Top 5 players at each
position?
Man, it'd be quicker if we don't add Ron.
Yeah, here's the thing. We don't have enough time to do all 5 turn up a G, but what we can do is I can get everybody.
Just do one position each. Why don't we just one does the point guard, one does the shooting guard, why don't we just do that?
Let's
or just our favorite. Or just let's all just do only our favorite at that position.
We would have more time if Ron read the super chats earlier.
Facts.
It's okay. We'll go over the time.
No, okay.
Yo, let me just get everybody's favorite at each position. Favorite.
Oh,
player.
our favorite player.
Yeah.
Oh,
Malone's my favorite 4-man.
Why would you start there?
That's where he started. I love it.
I'm expecting we start with the point guard on the center. He went straight to power forward.
You know how I get down? You know how I get down, Damo? Malone's my favorite at the 4th spot.
Yo, Mars.
What about all the other positions?
Are you talking to me, Ron?
Yeah.
Oh, Stockton is my favorite at the lead guard. Dominique is my
Jeff
favorite.
Jeff want to take his favorite. Okay.
Focus, Mars. Dominique is my favorite at the small forward. Jordan is my favorite at the 2. I can't do it. My cousin, he's my favorite at the 5.
Okay.
Even though I wanted to say Elijah Wan, but my cousin, he's my favorite.
Magic's my favorite at the 1. Kobe my favorite at the 2. Bron's my favorite at the 3.
All Lakers?
No. My 4's not
now
like. My 4's not gonna be a Laker. My 4's not gonna be a Laker. No.
No respect
my favorite 4. Yeah. My favorite 4 all time. I feel like KG is such an easy pick. Oh, Zach Randolph's my favorite 4. I like Zebo.
First name
my
20,
favorite
name
5.
10.
Dwight Howard's my favorite 5. I'm not gonna lie. Shaq is a close second, but Dwight's my favorite 5.
It's the difference between better player and your favorite.
Yeah, the difference between better and favorite.
Yeah,
Shaq is it's like right here, but I'm going with Dwight. That's just my era. That's my guy.
All right, so you got favorite players, all 5 positions.
Man, I gotta break the rules. I gotta go. I'm gonna go quick though, y'all. I'm gonna go quick. Favorite point guards: J. Kidd and Penny.
It's only one.
All right. Favorite 2 guard: Manu Ginobili. Favorite 3 guard. My favorite 3.
That's easy.
Yeah, I want to say Scotty, but I'm trying to, can't. Karan.
I'm surprised you. Yeah, I'm surprised you ain't say Rondo for point guard.
Karan, point guard. No, J. Kidd, hands down. Karan played a little 3 guard though. And so Peja Stojakovic. But favorite 4. I'm not gonna do the obvious KGR and Mario. I'm gonna go Louis Scola because that man was a menace. And then at the 5, Hakeem Olajuwon. Can't even nothing to think about.
Who you got, Mars?
T-Mac's my favorite 2 guard. I know that. Everyone knows. I don't know. I'm gonna have to make this up on the spot.
Who's your favorite league guard, Mars?
Probably Steve Nash, I guess.
Nash, your favorite league guard. Your favorite 3 guard. Your favorite small forward, Mars.
Can I put T-Mac at the 3 and have Jalen Green at the 2?
Yeah,
you could do that.
T-Mac at the 3, Jalen Green at the 2.
Who's at the 4?
At the 4. KG.
As much as you talk about him, yeah.
Yeah, KG's at the 4,
right.
and at the
5.
At the 5.
As much as you talk about him.
Who, Brad Miller?
No, I don't know. I don't know if Jokic my favorite center.
Man, it's Wemby, man. It's Wemby. Wemby's
much
your
as-
favorite.
Oh
As
yeah,
much
Wemby,
as-
Wemby,
as
yeah,
much
Wemby,
as
Wemby,
we
yeah,
draft other
Wemby,
pictures,
Wemby, yeah,
much
yeah,
as we
Wemby
talk
for
about
sure,
him.
Wemby for sure, yeah.
Right. There we
Let me
go
lock
right
in
there.
Wemby, yeah, Wemby.
Right.
Yeah, Wemby. Yeah.
There you go.
I lied. I'm replacing Magic with Lonzo. I don't know why I did that to him like that. Lonzo's my favorite point guard.
Oh,
All right,
Michael
y'all.
Beasley. No, Michael Beasley at the 4. Michael Beasley at the 4. Yeah.
Lonnie Williams said, "R.I.P. Toriyama."
R.I.P. Toriyama, man.
Smooth Tube said, "Rest in peace, Akira Toriyama, creator of DBZ."
R.I.P. Toriyama.
The Pool 2014 said, "R.I.P. Akira Toriyama, greatest anime creator of all time." Andra 15789 said 38, 35, 8, 10. Top 5 stat lines ever.
Oh, is that Lucas' averages right now? I'm
Yeah, he's
assuming.
30,
so.
yes, he's 35,
Okay.
8, 35, 10, and 8.
And I think Wilt has like 8 of the top 10.
Will Chamberlain had 50 and 25. So I mean, if you want to just go off stat lines,
26,
then-
Mars.
Yeah,
26.
that would be that. If you want to just go based on the box score, yeah, 50 and 26 is probably more impressive than 35, 8, and 10.
Top
Just
5.
If you just put blind box scores around, not to mention if they included steals and blocks,
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Jordan-
god.
Will Chamberlain's would probably look the best. Yeah.
Jordan, 33, 8, and 8, and almost 3 steals a game.
James Harden, 36, 7, and 7 on like 13 threes a game, something like that.
Russell
Russell
Westbrook,
triple double, yeah,
32,
32,
10,
11, and 10 or something.
Oscar, 31, 11, and 10.
Yeah.
Hell, James Harden the
RT
same
said-
Asia in 2002.
RT said Mars was right with 2 things: Peyton Watson's two-way potential, and the Celtics fans and Boston media now putting too much pressure on Tatum by comparing him
No.
to elite guys.
No, we're not doing that. We're not with the whole you're putting too much pressure on him. Not trying to hear that. No, I'm not. No, I'm
But
not trying to hear that.
that super chat insinuates
Oh.
that he's not elite. We got to use a different word because he's most certainly is elite. If you don't got
The
him top
elite
five,
players. You're comparing
yeah,
him
yeah,
to
if
the
you don't-
elite
if you don't got him
players.
top 5, like that clip that Mars had on YouTube or they on YouTube the other day. Like that's I understand that, but that doesn't mean that he's not elite. Like
Yeah,
the
he's
other
an elite
guys
player
might
for sure.
be a step above. I'm okay with that, but he's
And also,
elite.
yeah, I was right about Peyton Watson. I remember everyone was like, "Oh, they lost Bruce Brown." I was like, "Peyton Watson." I was telling you guys, man, Peyton Watson. Yeah, he tough.
Anthony Rosario said, "This is hard for me to say, but Chill might be right. Luka holding that rock too long. There's games where he shoots the first 5 to 7 shots, no passing at all."
Get off the pill, Luca.
I mean,
Get
that's
off
what
the
I'm saying.
pill.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Get off the pill.
What's the rock player?
Can't
Get
win
off the
that way,
pill.
man. You can't win that way.
Get off the pill.
That's why you're not the MVP.
It's about culture, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Taquay White said, "This is just to go back to the Chet versus Rudy offense. Chet shoots better from everywhere on the court. Y'all got to tell Ox stay away from basketball."
I already told you to Quay in the comment section, bro. You don't know enough about basketball.
The what?
Teach me anything, dog. If I don't care,
Oh
in the
yeah,
comments-
Ox was
comments-
saying that Chet
don't-
doesn't clear Rudy on offense.
My thing is I don't care because I don't care if you shoot the ball from 17 feet or from 7 inches away. It's you know what I'm saying. 2 points is 2 points. I
And
don't
by the
care.
way, Big Ox, last night that 18 that Rudy had should have been 25 because they should have went to him way more around the basket.
he
than
can't
they
he
did.
can't shoot threes. He's a bum.
Don't worry.
No, worry about it. Don't worry about it. I mean,
Cody
'cause
Green
Hey,
said,
did y'all
"R.I.P.
get mad when I
Toriyama."
said I'm done with the 90s? All right, bro.
Cody Green said, "R.I.P. Toriyama, most generational influencer writer of all time in anime history."
Bill Russell ain't get this many RIPs from you guys.
No, he didn't.
That's
No, he didn't.
Sad Neil said, "Tatum doesn't have superstar aura. I'd rather have Ant in the playoffs because he has a clutch switch, unlike Tatum."
Oh my god. Okay.
Nick Tri-State said, "SGA clear MVP. No one can say before the season that OKC would be a top 3 seed. They fighting for the number 1 seed with Chet as his sidekick, who basically is a rookie."
And
He's not basically a rookie. He is a rookie.
one of the main reasons why they are where they are is because of Chet. That's one of the main reasons why they are where they are, and because what Jalen Williams did. Focus, Damo.
And they'd be better if they start playing number 3.
Focus.
Renji said, "It's a shame that y'all are writing off Miami once again. Heat and 6."
I think Miami can be dangerous in the playoffs. I don't know. I need to see how the standings balance out because, yeah, I can't determine who's going to go where until I see who's playing who.
Prince Liger said, "Mars, your definition is correct. but it's for a megastar. There's a difference between a megastar and a superstar, as well as a star. SGA is a star.
I don't use the word megastar. You're either a superstar or you're not. I don't.
Yeah, I just don't like having those conversations. To be honest, just SGA is either a top 1 player, top 5 player, whatever. That's I don't care about superstar makers. I don't care about that.
Dead Op Smoker
having to label everything.
said, "Chill. We done with the '80s. People realizing Jordan was big trash is pure comedy. Got you fighting for your life on TT."
And winning.
Luka will be the GOAT.
Yeah, I be seeing Chill on those TikToks. He do not be like this.
And winning. That's right. And winning too. That's right.
Brack said, "Who's the most good in Chicago? Obama, Michael G.D. Jordan, Kanye, D Rose." This has been bugging me for like the last 2 weeks. Put some respect on Dwayne Wade
D
too.
Rose. D Rose.
D Rose. Next question.
I'd assume D Rose. Yeah.
I mean, Obama, ain't he from Chicago too?
Yeah, man.
President of the United States.
Yeah, man. President Schmesident. D Rose.
I suppose.
Zero just vibing said, "Basketball has been built off the backs of Wilt Chamberlain's lady friends."
They were definitely on their backs.
Some strong backs.
I wouldn't have mad.
Quan Johnson says, "Shut up, Nick. We done with the 1900s. Bubba Dub voice trash."
Oh, the 1900s. Damn. Okay.
The whole decade, huh?
Whole century.
That's what I meant. Yeah, century. Thanks, Morris.
Nick Tri-State said, "Today basketball is all stats. Oh, he had 37, 11, and 14. But you won't acknowledge the same person going 1 for 7 in the fourth when the money's on the table."
One for seven. 1 for 7 is stats.
Next time, read that.
One for 7 is 1 for 7 is also stats. Just so you know, I don't know if you knew that, but 1 for 7 is also stats. You just use different stats. That's still stats. Just putting out.
Read that when Swipers up here, Ron.
Ron, I gotta bounce. Big
All right,
Ox, I'll see you tomorrow, fellas. Later.
Merry Christmas.
Trey Ball said, "Shame what Ron let this channel turn into, a bronze sexual paradise."
Did you do that, Ron?
You're to blame for anything wrong in life, not just on this show.
You know, chat.
I'll run for sure.
Hey, if you blaming me for this, just wait till you see what I got up my sleeves next.
I just find it funny how it's bronze sexual paradise whenever we're saying something about Jordan. But when I come up here and say LeBron is not the best leader, when I say, hey, man, I question LeBron's leadership, then I'm a LeBron hater in the chat. Magically all loves LeBron. It's crazy. Y'all pick and choose when y'all do and don't like LeBron James.
Sad Neil said, "Who would you rather have long term, Tatum or Ant, for the next 8 years? Who y'all choosing?"
Wembanyama.
Tatum.
It was Tatum or who?
And
LaMelo Ball.
Halliburton. SMNRNDM said, "How is me saying Tatum getting open shots because the team is good any different from y'all saying Tatum would average the same as Luka if he took more shots?"
I think both are weird things to say.
Melo Williams said, "Giannis Antetokounmpo might finish shooting over 60% from the field while averaging 30.
Good for him. Well, I don't care.
Reggie Red said, "You tired of the 90s? We tired of the no defense, Euro stepping, gather steps, traveling, flopping, etc. in the most quote-unquote skilled era of basketball."
But then
be done with it 2010.
So then we go back and look at the 90s and find them still traveling, still flopping, still getting ticky-tack calls when it's supposed to be the era of defense. We can do this all day. Just appreciate the goddamn game. Stop watching basketball. Go watch soccer. Go watch baseball. Like, go watch some of those things. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Jesus Christ.
You can always go watch wrestling with Dub.
Go play basketball. How about that?
Hey,
Stop
that
watching.
might be aesthetically pleasing for you.
Now you talking, Damo. Now you talking. But WNBA is right around the corner though, yeah. So don't worry.
Yeah, go watch that. That's real hoops. Go watch that.
Real hoops is almost back, y'all. Almost. We almost there.
Teddy Hart said, "Chill. I think SGA has way more sauce to his game than you are giving him credit for. Every night he has at least 3 ridiculous plays and has sneaky hang time." Pause.
Is he saying that because he's
I get
Canadian?
it.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
Don't ever say another man has sneaky hang time. What's wrong with y'all? Guilty said, "Why has Zion always been an afterthought unless the media, including y'all, want to make a fat joke or talk about his injuries?" Pale's not excited.
I've been told people that I've been brought it up like, yo, Zion is actually looking. He played himself in shape. He's actually looking good. No one cares. I'm telling you, it's a problem with the NBA and NBA media, man. I've been saying it. Not enough
I
people
think the
are talking
polls are
about
interesting.
everybody.
I was wrong, but I think the polls are interesting. I don't know what that means for them in the playoffs, but it's going to be interesting to see them in the playoffs. I just don't think Zion is their best player, but I mean, I'm down to talk about the polls. I think they're very interesting.
All right, y'all. Last super chat of the day from It's Mr. GQ to you said, yo, WTF. We subbed out MVP Swiper for some scrub. Denver, where that beam go, Ox?
He called you a scrub.
Oh, you calling me a scrub? I'm not even, man.
Yeah.
Shit, like I said, yo, if you can't chew gum and dribble at the same time, don't add me. Don't talk to me.
Don't talk to me no more. Damn. Okay.
Nah. You certified more. I'm talking about these bozos. Hey, y'all seen that dude? I think it was actually in Denver, who went up there like he was about to knock down all the free throws in 50 seconds and made one. He was airballing all them free throws. You could tell that's how these dudes in the chat be. You know what I'm saying? Be talking shit like, oh, you can do this, and then like they get a chance and they be airballing, but they're the same ones that be like, yo, if I was 4 inches taller, I'd be in the league. That's some bums. Y'all need to get out your mama basement and do something with yourself. It stinks down there. Feel me?
Yo. All right.
It smell like gym socks, bro.
Y'all be getting fried by chill all week.
Kick you niggas out the house. Y'all better do something with yourself.
And Ox putting the icing on the cake with the cherry on top. Damn, chat, y'all really got cooked this week. I have more faith in y'all. But all right, we're going to be back next Monday. We got open gym, not next, but it's right now. Go tap in, and y'all have a good weekend.
Lakers, y'all better draft Grant Nelson. If y'all don't draft Grant Nelson, I'm done with the Lakers, nigga.